Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you the Tottenham Roundtable, which will be hosted by Jack tonight. And of course, we are joined by Dermot from Tottenham Tantrum Goal and the best freelance man in the business, Philip Brady. We'll start with Jack. Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Dave, we have some very, very difficult words from Conte to kind of dissect, and who better to join us than the most wise godfathers, probably the Harris Army, to break it down. I'm a bit worried by maybe what Conte has had to say. Maybe they'll make it, just seem like hot air. Maybe they'll kind of believe maybe some of the potential meaning behind it all. But just looking forward to having these very wise men break it down for it.
No, 100%. Yeah. Dermot, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm all right. We just dust ourselves down and we start again on Saturday. The life of being a Spurs fan, but you wouldn't want it any other way, really, would you?
No, that's true. That's true. It's certainly a roller coaster, that's for sure. And Philip, how are you keeping?
Well, I'm a lot better than I was 24 hours ago, but still hurting a little bit from last night. But got to keep going.
No, for sure. Definitely hurting from last night. I think we all are. It's painful, and only a victory against Leeds can put that right. But look, before we do get in and digest Conte's quotes from last night, look, I was going to touch on it earlier today and maybe come out last night and do another one, but I just thought it'd be better to maybe sit back, have time to really think about it, rather than just in the moment sort of thing. So we'll see how we get on with it. But let's see who we have in the house with us. We have Paul Markey. It's a simple message to the players, certain squad members not good enough to Levy and the board. Listen to what I'm saying and back me to the fans. If the above two aren't sorted, I'm off. John Smith says he's off on his way. You clowns will ruin any manager. It must be a United fan desperate in need of a manager. Leo Gostard, it says, come on, you Spurs. What are the present day? That it is, my man. Surely is. Mick Hermick says, good evening, lads. Big up, Mick. I hope you're keeping well. He's always here as well. Sue Smith, the only clown around here are Levy and Enoch. Our fan base deserves so much better. Hashtag Levy out, hashtag Enoch out, hashtag Harris Army. Big up, Sue. I hope you're doing well. Chris Hatton is in the house. He says, the fundamental ethos of the club needs to change and it start at the top. If we cannot beat Leeds United on Sunday, he will walk. And if that happens, I think the club is only heading... And then he says, I think the game on Saturday will be a defining time, depending on what we do in terms of results. He said he cannot accept losing 4 or 5 games. I just hope it's not 5 out of 6. No, look, I do think... he is taking the press conference tomorrow, so he's here till tomorrow anyway, which then would indicate he's here for the Leeds game. After that, we'll have to see what way that result goes for sure. Alfie Goslin is in the building. Hope everyone is okay over the world, and Enoch and Levy need to go, and also Conte need to stay. Big yourself up, Alfie. Hope you're keeping well. The Bolton Duda says amen to that. Damianos 13 says we don't have a Conte problem, we have a squad problem. Interesting. Welsh Gal says, evening all, love this community. Big yourselves up. Big up, Welsh Gal. It's good to see you in. Wembley 1 says, evening, guys. Levy needs... Leeds may be getting battered everywhere they go, but have no fear because I fear Dr. Tottenham are heading to town to cure all their ills come Saturday lunchtime. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but they are off the back of United and Liverpool, 2 very tough games. So hopefully they are tired when we rock up. Jay Gilbert says, come on, you Spurs. Big up, my man. Neil Shafton's in the house. Marathon, not a sprint. Focus on the upcoming match and stop worrying about top 4. All you can control is us. And if we do our job and win it all, that's all we can ask for. This is the team, like it or not. That is exactly spot on, my man. Straight to the point now. Celery Agent says, oi, big up, Celery Agent. Hope you're keeping well. Jamie Gitt says, in Conte, I trust. Jerome is here. Big up. He says, hello, gents. Big up, Jerome. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Dan Coy says, if Conte did walk before the end of the season, I won't go to any more matches this season. I'll just watch from home. Come on, you Spurs. Get ready for Money Mason. If that is the case, until the end of the season, get ready for it. So I probably wouldn't blame you for maybe saving your money and watching it from home. At the bottom, do it says it's a legendary panel. We have Srikar ready. The bottom, do that. I love that. Paro Miguel Escobardo, good evening all. Big up, Paro. Hope you're keeping well. Shane O'Neill is also here. Anyone else finding it hard to sleep last night? Absolutely seething with rage and worry. 100%, my man. I could not sleep properly last night whatsoever. I was just furious upset, pissed off, didn't know where we're going, man. Not a good night last night. Checkmate 734, just listening to Henry's channel, just the same old crap. Every other channel is peddling, which we have known for decades. Players are crap, managers having a meltdown, and the fans are deluded. Fair enough, Checkmate. Who else we got? Anthony Gray says, I hope our players take into account Conte's words. If we can lose against Wolves, Southampton, win Man City, then lose against Burnley, I think our squad not got the strength mentally to go hard. 100%. Absolutely spot on. And then Checkmate says, let's see what this channel offers. Hopefully you can live up to your standards, Checkmate. Tequila 316 says, big yourselves up, lads. Big up. I hope you're keeping well. You have Kev G says, good evening, fellas. Our club is cursed, some serious voodoo shit. Yeah, it is. It does seem like that at times, I'm telling you. Every time we lose, I ring up my father crying. Why? Why did you put this on me? But at the end of the day, I do love it too. Like, after the immediate loss of a match, then I realise how much I really do love Tottenham. Ryan Bravo says, Levy screwed every Spurs fan over. Arspoo even retaking us again. George Hill is here. He says, big up, lads. Hope you boys are keeping well. Levy has some dangerous waters to navigate with Conte. And while I hate losing, it's nice to see that little bald rat squirm. Love that. 164 Spurs says, hi, guys. Still raging from last night. Yes, we are. So we all are, my man. Ralph Bryce says, bloody Arsenal just got last-minute winner 2-1. Oh, that is a sickener. Soft says the scum just won. Yeah, that's crap. That is crap. But look, Jordan Stevens is in the house. Big up Jordan Stevens. Kev Williams as well. Leon is here. Faz Radfar. Wobbles is here as well. And then Moondog says, good evening, lads. Big up, Moondog. I hope you are keeping well, my man. It's good to see you in, Moondog. Everybody, we are going to crack into it now. Make sure you do smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you are new. The big push for 6K is on. We're so nearly there. And guys, feel free to get your super chats in. But any questions you have with whatever talking points you want us to discuss, even just with your thoughts on what we're talking about, whether you agree, disagree, let us know. And it is a great way to help support the channel. Don't get me wrong, we know it's hard times out there. It is a big, bad world out there. Not everybody is in a fortunate position to be able to do it. Do not worry. We like to include everybody here. So at least just get your comments in and we will get them up on screen. Super chats just mean you skip the queue. We get straight to it and we give it a good old lashing and talking about it. But look, Jack, take it away, my man. This is your round table, so let's have it.
Let's have it, Dave. Let's have it. We're just going to break down a bit of some quotes here from Antonio Conte, everybody. I think what's kind of important to say is Antonio Conte gave a fair amount of interviews last night, and there were a lot of different quotes of his, but I feel like the ones that we're kind of picking from today are probably some of the ones that maybe have been kind of most viral and have also maybe say perhaps the most about what's really on his mind. But this is the first one here, and I am going to bring it up on screen, especially for the whole Harris Army as well to read from it. But Conte, after being asked, basically his first question being asked by the reporter was basically just saying, tough night, right? And his answer was, it is a difficult night. In the last 5 games, we lost 4. It means there will be an assessment about the club, about me, because I think for me, it is very frustrating to lose 4 games in the last 5. The situation is this. The situation speaks clear. I am really sorry for the fans. They don't deserve this. When you lose 4 in the last 5 games, you have to make an assessment. The club has to speak together and to understand which is the best solution. I mean, Dermot, do you feel like, is Conte more or less trying to say that he can't handle the mediocrity and the inconsistency of the squad? I think we're going to dive into later, whether this is something Conte should be saying in general, but do you feel like, Dermot, he's kind of just, the up and down nature of this team, the up and down nature of this form, do you think it's starting to almost break Conte down, almost as a human? It's kind of getting to him.
I don't think it's breaking him, but I think he's passionate Italian anyway, and I think he hates losing. And I think the players haven't got that same mentality he has. And I think he's frustrated. I think it's more frustration than being broken or anything. I think it's frustration that they're not playing the way he wants them to play. Players are not given 100%. They did against Man City, but they weren't doing a wet, windy Wednesday night away to Burnley. Then the games you need to win if you want to go anywhere in the league. You can beat Man City or Man United or Chelsea all day long, But if you go away to Leeds or Burnley or Southampton or Wolves on a wet, windy night, then the games you need to pick up the points. And I think it's frustrated we can't do that. And I think that's where it's...
Yeah. I think his problem is realizing, and I think we all know, Dermot, there are more Leedses and Burnleys and Brightons than there are really Chelseas and Man Cities, in the league. And that means that probably explains why we've only won one of the last 5. And I think that's what Conte is probably so upset about. For you, Philip, do you feel like this mediocrity and this up and down kind of roller coaster nature of maybe Spurs' sort of form, is it maybe breaking down Antonio Conte, or do you think it's something else?
No, it's not breaking them down at all. If you watch the very start of the interview, the first question that one of the journals asks him about the match, and his immediate reaction was, "I don't want to talk about that." He came into that press conference with a plan to say what he said. Okay, it's well documented what he said. It's very unusual for a manager after a game not to want to talk about the match. I've never seen it before. What else do you talk about? So he set the agenda. Then he went on to say, well, it's basically, from my reading of it, it's a kick up the arse for the players, the board, and the chairman. That's basically what he was getting at, with a little bit of sympathy for the fans thrown in. This thing about making an assessment, the club has to speak together. I don't think Daniel Levy is going to sit Antonio Conte down and say, "Sorry, Antonio, it's not working out. Here's your P45." That's not going to happen. Antonio Conte is a passionate, as Dermot said, he's a passionate Italian. He's a winner. He's probably never been in this position before, or very rarely, of losing 4 matches out of 5. And he's not going to go from last Thursday saying it was the best crowd of young players he's ever worked with to more or less handing in his notice 4 days later. So it was calculated. It was cold. It was probably unnecessary. I don't think he should have said what he did, but he said it. It's in the open now. And Daniel Levy cannot say, "Nobody told me you're unhappy," whenever the time comes in July when he backs him or doesn't back him.
I mean, I think what's really perhaps maybe more worrisome is if this is all extremely calculated, what is he trying to get out of it then, Philip Brady? And I guess we'll be breaking that down later. But to you, maybe quickly, Dave, it's kind of just, our initial thoughts. Do you feel like Antonio Conte is just the nature of Spurs, the squad, these results? Do you feel like it's getting to him, or do you think maybe, as Philip was alluding to, there's perhaps a different intention behind maybe these remarks?
I think he's very frustrated with the squad. Look, let's be honest, is Juve, Inter Milan, the Italian national job. I mean, the guy is not used to working with some of the uncoachable players that we have here, that we've seen under previous managers, their flaws, their faults. He cannot accept the sort of inconsistency we are showing. We've played out of our last 4 games, 3 teams we should have bet: Wolves, Southampton, Burnley. And the one you would have said probably accepted a loss against Man City, but we go and win that and we lose the other 3. Conte is not used to that sort of inconsistency. He's just not. He's used to winners. Everyone wanting to win every game, having the desire, the passion, the hunger, everyone pulling in one direction and will do what is ever necessary to go and win that game. Now, I mean, us as fans were looking at that game yesterday, frustrated that there was players out there, you're looking at them, do more, show something, show me how much you really want to go and win this game, go and affect it. That affects the manager too. But as well, Jack, if he stays silent, and I think what his fear is because we have to remember the board have set top 4 as the target. They sacked Pochettino because he wasn't look like we were going to make top 4. They sacked Jose Mourinho because it didn't look like we weren't going to make top 4. So they set the top 4 as the remit for any manager coming in here and set top 4 as the standards for any fan out there. So for me, Conte's not saying anything new that none of us fans speak about. It's not any sort of secret. He's saying everything that we all speak about. But on the flip side, I'm a bit confused by it because he also knew what he was signing up for. He also has to give us a summer transfer window before he can really come out and say things like this. He's been in the game. He's an experienced guy. He knows that you're never, ever going to rebuild the whole squad in January, and you're never, ever going to be able to fix your problems in January 100%. So I'm a bit surprised by it. I do think on his side there needs to be more patience in terms of knowing exactly what he was getting himself into. But he's passionate. He's like a fan. He's basically speaking like a fan is, and that's the sort of passion we want. But that's the passion we want in a manager. But at the same time, he does have to err on the side of patience, Jack. I can get that maybe he's sending a message to the board and a message to the players. And for me, it's like, dude, with him thinking he has the power to do that, does he know the board 100% have their faith in him that he can abuse that faith then to go out into the press conference the way he did? He also knows that Harry Kane's son and everybody else, especially Harry Kane, he will stay as long as Conte is here because he sees a vision. So he knows Tottenham players the best Tottenham players are on his side as well. And I'm just wondering if he spoke out, just because if they do think about sacking him, that he's just kind of saying, well, hang on, these are the problems. I'm not your fall guy here.
Perhaps, Dave, I am a bit, worried that, with Antonio Conte's maybe words here, that if he is just kind of, complaining just for complaining's sake, what are the kind of the repercussions of that? Perhaps, with Levy, is Levy, able to, accept, these sort of words, this sort of PR, this sort of attention? I guess, something else that maybe we'll break down later. But Capcom Gaming saying, Dave, Spurs will always be Spurs. Why expect anything else? But I think we have a good panel here maybe to answer this one, especially someone like Dermot, who I know always sees the light at the end of the tunnel. But I think we should expect a whole lot more, to be honest, Dermot.
We should, but it is what it is with this group of players, this squad. We just got to buckle up and take the pain. I mean, I'm thinking a lot of it last night and today. We've got to take the pain before we get the game, and this is us taking the pain. Yeah, you can say this has been the same since under Pochettino, under Mourinho, under Conte so far, but Conte started unbeaten in the first 8 or 9 games. So he's always going to have a wobble anyway. Yeah, it's disappointing we haven't won them games. But let's look at it fairly. Let's look at it logically. We haven't got the squad for top 4. Let's look at it logically. Just put all our eggs into the FA Cup. Let's win a trophy. Build off that for next season and then go for top 4. Let's see what happens. Let's just go for the FA Cup. If we finish top 6, great. But let's win a trophy and then kick on from there. And I think we will do that. I think we've got to, as a fan base, and I'm guilty of it as well. I'm guilty of it, of being doom and gloom and throwing like my toys out the pram and it's this and it's that. When you sit down and think of it logically, let's go and win the FA Cup. Let's win a trophy and then kick on from there. And I think everyone would accept that.
Big up, Dermot. Absolutely love it. I think we're going to move on to the next quote here, everybody, from Antonio Conte. The reporter then said, a meeting with the players, the management, what do you mean? And he said, the situation, the players are always the same. This club changes coaches, but the players always remain the same. But the result doesn't change. I repeat, I am too honest to answer this type of situation. For sure, we will make an assessment with the club because it is not right. It is not good for anybody to continue to lose. I can't accept this. It is not good for no one. Philip, my belief, I don't know if anything Conte says here is exactly incorrect or even remotely exaggerated or really out of place. However, when it's coming from like the mouth of the manager, does it make you feel maybe a bit differently? Is it okay that these sort of things that, you and I, as well as David, have been saying, for weeks, months, almost maybe a year? Is it okay, though, when it comes out of the manager's mouth, apart from ours?
I think the second sentence of that quote is the most pertinent one here, where he says, this club changes coaches, but the players remain the same. Right. Break down the team that started last night. Hugo Lloris, Pochettino, time. Ben Davis, Pochettino, time. Eric Dyer, Pochettino, time. Harry Winks, Pochettino, time. Harry Kane, Pochettino, time. Son, Pochettino, time. Right? Pochettino left because he couldn't get the best out of those players or whatever. They tools or whatever. There are too many players still at the club that should not be at the club. Okay, I'll make exceptions there. Hugo Lloris should always be there. Harry Kane should always be there. Son should be there. And even as recently as his form has been so good, Eric Dyer. But there are other players, Harry Winks, Ben Davies. Time to move them on. There's not enough freshness in the squad. And that's where players remain the same. Bit comes in. He's sending this is like dissecting an English question on your exams. You know, what does he actually mean by saying the players remain the same? It means, Daniel, give me money so I can buy players that are up to the standard I want in my team. That's what he's saying there.
Do you think it alludes to
lose? Well, that takes it. I mean, none of us want to see Spurs losing 4 out of 5. I can't remember when we did that last. I'm sure someone will come up with the year.
2004, I think, was the last time we done it, Philip.
Sorry, when was that, David?
I think I was reading something before the game. I think it was something as far back as 2004.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's 17 years ago. And I can't accept it. It's good for no one. No. He's basically, that is a plea to Daniel Levy to do what you promised you were going to do when I came into the club. Okay, we knew it wasn't going to happen all in January. We all accepted that. Well, most of us did. And now the time is July and August this year are the 2 most important months that Tottenham will have had in the last 20 years. Because if we don't deliver Conte's wishes this summer, he will not be managing Spurs come the start of next season. And then where are we? Will we go for the likes of Neil Warnock or Sam Allardyce? Because that's the only type it'll touch us. Because no self-respecting manager will come near Tottenham if Conte has to walk due to his not being supported.
Do you feel like, Philip, though, just quickly, is he kind of pointing to the fact that he feels like a lot of the other managers where they're just kind of brought in just to kind of wave a magic wand and somehow make the players, play, differently than they ever have? And is that maybe what he's probably complaining about, just being used as some sort of puppet?
I don't think Conte really gives a toss about the other managers. Conte is, you do not become as successful as him by worrying about other managers and what they've done and what they haven't done. Conte is Conte. He wants success. He is a born winner. And he's thought maybe he might have an easier way of achieving that scenario at Tottenham. It's now coming evident to him that it's not. And it's going to take a good bit of change to get to the success level he wants and we all want. So I think, this is that. I used to always watch CNN during the American elections, and you see some of the politicians making these outlandish speeches. And then the commentator would say, that speech was made for an audience of 1, being Donald Trump at the time, right? That speech that Conte made last night was made basically for an audience of 1, Daniel Levy, but also with a proviso that the team had to look at it as well and realize it affects them as well.
Interesting. Very interesting and very powerful, I must say there, Philip. Dermot, I mean, a lot of what Antonio Conte has said, I feel like we've all probably agree with and probably have said more or less on panels like this and on kind of shows like this before. But how do you feel about it coming from kind of the manager's, lips instead of our lips? Are you all right with that? Is it okay that he's saying these sort of truths? Are you happy he's this kind of gutless? Or do you think maybe there's a line between maybe us and maybe what the manager can say?
I think it's refreshing. It's the first manager to come in and tell it how it is. And actually say, look, this is the problem. You look at Mourinho, he said it, but he didn't say it in so many words.
Right.
Poch wouldn't say anything. He didn't really say much, though I want to rebuild, and that was it. Conte's come in, look, you look how he left Chelsea in the press conference when he left Chelsea. Yeah. He said exactly how it is, and he's doing the same at Tottenham. The board or not, if the board don't back me, we're going to be in a relegation fight, and it's the truth. And it's refreshing, and I think it's something. He's like one of us, but he's managing the club. It's like you can go down to the pub with Conte and have a few pints with him, and have to crack with him because he's that sort of person. But he will tell you how it is, and that's refreshing for me.
If he isn't, smashing the glass over people's head by the end of it. But Dave, what are your thoughts on this? Because I think it must be kind of spoken about. Do you feel like what he's saying? I think you've said maybe, yourself maybe 1,000 times what he's probably said, in those quotes. But is it all right when it comes from Conte instead of maybe the fans?
To be honest, when I first seen the quotes, Jack, I was thinking look, if this guy does walk, maybe they should get me in because, I've been saying this from day dot. But no, look, I'll be honest with you. I actually like it. I'll be honest. I like it because rather than me sit here and people say, no, that's not the problem. You're deluded, this, that, and the other. Well, I mean, it's come from the manager's mouth. So it means I was kind of in and around the right ball area. But what I will say is Spurs fans for ages have been calling out, why won't the manager tell us how it is, this, that, and the other? Now, we all know people that are in the public eye, they play the media. They try to play the media. Whereas Conte said it. He says, basically, I'll bring it up here again. He basically says, I repeat, I am too honest to answer this type of situation. So basically, don't ask me the question, but since you've asked me, I'm too honest, I'm going to tell you exactly what my thoughts are. It's not good for anybody to continue to lose. I mean, us fans are sick of losing. I'm sick of being a loser. I know everybody else is. So for him to come out and say that is absolutely spot on. I'm so much happier he came out and said something like this, to be honest with you. Like I said, I don't agree with it purely because I do think he has to be fair as well and give the club a chance in the summer to be able to back him. But I'd much rather see that than someone come out and go, oh, we tried knocking on the door, this, that, and the other. I'd much rather him just come out and tell, because we all know. It's like we've all said this before about the players. It's the inconsistency. When you have certain players that step in, it's such a drop-off in quality, it becomes costly. We've said this so many times, and I don't see why Spurs fans don't like it, because, they take managers like you've seen under Jose Mourinho before. You've seen little things under Pochettino before where you know exactly what they mean, right? And they're saying it in a roundabout way. They're just not as direct as Conte. But then to suit Spurs fans' narrative, then it's like but he said this. And you're like, yeah, we know he said that, but you know really what he means. But he didn't say that. And it's like, so now that we've got someone that's in here and that will say it, but don't cry about it. It's what we've all wanted. It's what we've all called for. And I'm happy with it. I'd much rather someone come in, identify what the problems are, address them head on, address them in an aggressive, bullish manner, and try and get the thing sorted out and move on with this stuff, because we've tried having Pochettino, who told the club line, didn't work out in the end, and didn't work out in Pochettino's favour.
Yeah, and got
we had Jose Mourinho come in, who would toe the club line to a certain extent, but would also, say things in the press in code, but not directly. We were all going mad about that. So now we have someone that's saying it directly. What we going mad about? It's what we wanted. And at least he's not skirting around the issues. Like I said, I'd much rather him come out and say what he said last night than just feed us some bull crap. It was raining, it was this, it was that. So I'm happy with it, and it's nothing new that none of us know. And to be honest with you, I should actually be thanking him for it, because it's what I've been saying for so long, and what Philip also said as it kind of ties into it about the stainless of the squad, and that's what he's ultimately getting at when he says the situation, the players are always the same. This club changes coaches, but their players remain the same. Now, Jack, we are the biggest fan base guilty of when a new manager comes in looking to see how he can get the best out of Winks, how he can get the best out of Sanchez, and all this sort of stuff. I basically go, what Conte is saying there is, I'm not being fooled by this, and you guys shouldn't be either. It's the same players, different managers. How many times have we sat here and said that? You can blame Pochettino all you want. When he had to rely on certain players, cost him his job. You can blame Jose Mourinho all you want. When we got injuries, had to rely on certain players, cost him his job. And we've said this time and time again. Then all of a sudden, a new manager comes in. It's not the manager's fault, or it's not Winks' fault. It's not Sanchez's fault. It's not Doherty's fault. It was the previous manager's fault. But now we can put that to bed, because now we know it's out there. We know exactly what the problem is, and we can stop skirting around the issue and now address it.
Well, if they think he's being too direct, Philip, then why don't we just get Nuno back? Somebody who just keep everybody asleep, while the press conference and the post-match is happening.
We don't have statues at White Hart Lane, so we're not having him back. But no, I'd say. But David said there. It just wants to lead into what I want to add on to it slightly. Conte came in there, right? He talked about the players who've been there too long, which they have, a lot of them. But look what he did. He identified, I'd say, 3 items of toxicity. Is that the word? In the dressing room, and he shipped them out in January. Okay. Now, not permanently in 2 cases, but he shipped them out of the ground. Now, he was not able to replace them for whatever reason, right? But it seems to me that those guys were such a bad influence in the dressing room. He made a concerted decision. Okay, it's weakening the squad number-wise, but it's better to have those guys out of the club where they can't do any damage than leave them where they are, and the toxicity continues into the second half of the season. That took guts to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate we didn't replace, we didn't get a new right wing back and whatever. But the guy is brave to a T. He is the first Spurs manager, I'd say, since, I think Keith Birkinshaw was probably the most honest Spurs manager of the recent era when he came out with the same, there used to be a football club in there. Now, to some extent, you could say the same thing again today. But Conte has come in there. He's not a yes man. He has called it as he sees it. And Levy, take note. You cannot say you haven't been warned, because let's face it, we've got a world-class manager who's got a proven success rate. He wins everywhere he goes. If he walks from Tottenham with a stain on his character for not be winning anything, or because he couldn't get backing from the chairman, what do you think the reaction of the Spurs fans is? If you think it's bad at the minute, there'll be pitchforks and flames and foot torches marching down the high road. They will burn the stadium down and Levy in it. And that's how much we need Antonio Conte to stay with us. If he sticks with us and gets the backing he requires this summer, if we don't win the FA Cup this year, I'd put a tenner on we win something next year.
But as well, just to add to that, I do think a lot of his comments have come off, because like we have to remember, they watch social media, they watch Sky Sports and all the pundits and everything else. And a lot of people lately have started to question Conte. They've started to question Conte's tactics. Now, a part of this we have to also understand is he's sitting there, he's like, hang on, you can question my my tactics all you want. I've won titles at Trophy, I've won trophies at Chelsea, I've won trophies at Inter, I've won trophies at Juve, I've took the Italian national job. My tactics is not the problem. My methods are not the problem. He's come in here, he's used every method and probably exhausted every single method that has combined to make his winning way, and it's just failed every single time. And basically, when he says it's the same players, different managers, he's basically saying exactly that. You can go down the same route like you did under Pochettino, like you did under Nuno, like you did under Jose and everything else, and you can start questioning the tactics of the manager, you can start questioning the formation, you can question how much of a squad, of a man management he is, this, that, and the other. And he's just basically saying, keep questioning it, but I'm not the problem. The squad of players are the problem. And it's what we've said, Jack, like, we've heard a lot of fans recently, why is Conte doing this? Why is Conte doing that? And we've sit here and said, no matter what he tries, if you have to use certain individuals, it doesn't matter what formation you play, doesn't matter what style of football you play, it doesn't matter what style of man management you have. We've had every sort of different thing from Pochettino to Conte and everything in between so far, and none of it has worked. And that tells us absolutely everything we need to know. And that's basically what Conte is saying. Question me all you want, but I'm not the problem here. Problem is the players. I can go and put 3 in midfield. I can go and put 10 at the back. It doesn't matter. Someone will make a mistake. So he's just telling us how it is.
I think he is absolutely telling us how it is.
Good point.
Yeah,
I heard today in the radio station, I was on YouTube on TalkSport, it's like a little 5-minute section. And 2 Spurs rang up and they were criticising Conte. For what? For really what? I mean, you can blame, we're doing it again and again and again. We're blaming the wrong people. We should be blaming the players and the owners, but mostly the players. They're the ones that actually go out for 90 minutes and represent us. They're not representing Conte. They're not representing Enoch and Levy. They're representing the fans, us, that pay our good hard money to go and watch them. And they're letting us down. And the players have to take responsibility, and we have to start blaming the players. No point blaming Conte. He can't do nothing on the touchline, apart from changing the tactics or making the substitution. He's not kicking the ball or making the bar pass. Let's blame the players.
And just to add to that, Dermot, he made 3 substitutions yesterday. Not one of them affected the game. That's not on him. That's not his problem. People call for him to make changes, and then when he does, they don't affect the game. So whether he makes changes or whether he doesn't, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because you're not getting any response whatsoever. And that's what he's trying to communicate to us. It doesn't matter what any manager comes in here and does. It doesn't matter whether you want them to make changes. It does not matter. I put out the same team that was out against City where we won, and I put out the same team against Burnley, and look at the two different teams. You're telling me I should have to change the tactics. You looked against City, you looked at that starting lineup, you said, there's more than enough in that team to be able to break down Burnley. Now, because they didn't go and do it, don't start looking at his tactics and stuff like that. You got to question the players.
Yeah.
You could have
look at the
yourself running that
substitutions.
team.
Look at the substitutions that he made last night. Okay, Winks had to come on as a matter of necessity. What did he contribute in the second half? Our performance went from reasonably good, reasonably okay in the first half, to downright poor in the second half. Lucas Moura came on. What did he do? Ran up blind alleys every time, which is his habit, unfortunately. And Stephen Bergwijn came on and didn't repeat his heroics at Leicester when he had a couple of good chances and missed both of them. That's not down to Conte. That is just down to players not doing what they're supposed to be good at.
No, it's not, to be honest, or even what some of their transfers fees would even suggest as well. Kafkoff Gaming says, where do you think the word Spursy came from? I feel like it's maybe gained more traction under this Levy and Enoch era, if I'm going to be honest, Kafkoff. That's where I'm going to say I think it's really come under this era than anything else. But Tin Man 007 saying it's clear that he was not happy with having 4 players leave and only 2 in. Conte thinks has made them weaker. Take a look at Del Piero's quote today. I haven't seen Del Piero's, but Tin Man, I must be honest, like he didn't use those players that you're talking about, though, that we had gotten rid of. The one, of course, that he did sort of use, and in fact, almost used this guy more than the rest of them, was Brian Hill. Brian Hill, he actually probably used more than the rest of the ones that he actually got rid of. And so if you're going to be honest here, I mean, what was it? It was something like Gio, Deli, and Tanguy combined. It was like over the Conte period had played a combined like 9 or something like games or something like that. Something quite atrocious. So maybe Conte's upset about them leaving. Perhaps he's more upset about us not maybe bringing in some extra bodies to replace them. But I don't think he's upset about them leaving. But I mean, Dave, have you seen Del Piero's quote here or anything?
Yeah, I seen Del Piero's quote, and the second part of his quote was kind of him just take his guess on the situation. Basically, what he said is, I was with Conte a couple of weeks ago in London. He's very happy with the way things are going at Tottenham. And what he said is, I guess that maybe he's unhappy with the 4 that we let go and the 2 we brought in. But, I mean, you look at it. Ndombele, he didn't play, so he shouldn't be crying over that. The Celso, he barely got to use, so he shouldn't be crying over that. Dele Alli, he put out and let him down every time, so he shouldn't be crying over that. And then Brian Hill, like you said, he used, but maybe just doesn't fit the system that Conte wants to play. But also when you bring in Kulusevski, where is Brian Hill's game time? Yeah. You know, so it's kind of like you got to weigh it up. Look, maybe he wanted to keep Brian Hill and maybe sell Bergwijn and Lucas or something like that, and the board didn't want to do it. Maybe that could be what he's pissed off about. I'm not sure. But if he is pissed off about letting go of 4 and bringing in 2, first of all, he has to understand, and he, like I've said earlier on, he's in the game for so long. He knows January is 1 month, not 3. He knows that in January, you're never going to rebuild or overhaul a team, and you're never going to get the players of quality because the players that we're looking at are all challenged for things, and they're not going to leave their club in the middle of a season. So he also has to, like I said, everything I've said is correct, but he also has to be patient with this, I'm guessing. I think yesterday, all in general, everything was just frustration at the players rather than, look, yes, he took a pop shot at the board and like basically, if you think I'm sticking around here next season on the same crop of players, think again, basically. You know what I mean? But I think yesterday was more aimed at the frustration of the players rather than what we done in the transfer window, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tim Man, though, I think, it's some good points raised, though, to be honest, in your super chat, and do appreciate it. Jerome saying, we have a bunch of living room players that can only play in the right condition. Conte is just frustrated with that mentality. As for him, is win or die. It's win or die trying. Philip, do you think that's probably true with these sort of players? I love that. Do you think we have living room sort of players? Is that accurate?
I saw a comment earlier. The Spurs players don't seem to be able to play in the rain because last night was a bit of a downpour. Okay, Man City, it was raining as well. Wolves, I don't think it rained the day we played. Well, maybe it did. Yeah, it did rain the day we played Wolves. And I don't know about the other two, about Southampton. maybe they're scared of getting. No. I thought it would have been only Dele Alli would have been scared of getting his hairdo ruined, by the rain. It's living room players. There are certainly some players that are in the comfort zone, the comfort of their own living room, and what they need to be done is stuck outside in the tent for a couple of nights to harden them up. Because we are a bit of a soft touch now. In all fairness, I know Conte wants us to be getting mean and get dirty, and I would love to see that. But do we have the players to do it? Højbjerg did it against City with that body check just after the goal was disallowed. Well, after the save by from Kane's shot. And he stopped the goal there. We need to do more of that. Take the odd booking. Take one for the team. But who have we got to do it? Harry Winks won't. He just bounce off somebody. So we need players that can play under any condition. I'll tell you one thing. We're going to be tested up in Yorkshire in the next 2 matches. Yeah. Bad and all as Leeds are. They're going to have a point to prove to their fans after letting in 10 goals in 2 games.
It wasn't very easy when they came to our stadium as well.
No, it wasn't. They were very good in the first half. And, they beat us up there last year. Middlesbrough, I'm a little concerned about. I saw Middlesbrough the other night. I watched them just specifically to see how they were playing. They were behind at half-time, but they dominated the second half and won the game against West Brom. So that's not going to be easy either. And I'm not even going to contemplate what it's going to be like here next Tuesday night if we don't win both those matches.
Yeah.
I can't contemplate either. Big up Jerome, though. And to maybe your other part here with Conte just being frustrated with that, I think he is. I think that's why, that original question was, are these sort of players and this sort of volatile kind of nature of these players, is that grinding him down? Is that kind of making him starting to lose his marbles and kind of have these sort of outbursts? And will we be seeing more of these outbursts because these players are, doing it to him? Maybe so, maybe so. Some of the panelists here seem to think a bit, kind of, sort of, but maybe other factors. But Jerome, pick yourself up, my man. I'm really good talking points there.
I don't think diplomacy is a strong suit. He wears his heart on his sleeve and he says it as he thinks it.
Well, I mean, again, if we wanted a diplomatic manager, go back to Nuno days again, where, he just put yourself to sleep with every single answer. But Tim N007 saying some fans just don't like the truth. Conte is spot on. And this is what I'm speaking to, Tim, man. It's like, if people don't like this, if people don't want the manager saying these sort of things, if they don't want him coming out, this, open and this honest, I mean, again, let's just go back to, a different manager then that, wouldn't, say these sort of things. And
let's go back to Mason, where everyone was complaining because he's a club puppet. You know what I mean? Go back to that then.
That's what I'm confused about. It seems like I don't really think there's a happy medium here that people are looking for. You can't be too they can't be too honest, but they also can't be too boring and, too much of a club puppet. It seems like, I don't know what we're looking for really. But Tim, man, pick yourself up, my man.
Tim, man. Good to see you in.
Al Ben says his thoughts never changed from the first month in the UEFA game. Just had to try with them. We're a poor team all over, except for probably 4 players. Maybe does this I'll kind of connect maybe to his Enes Mira, maybe thoughts, Dave, do you think?
Look, we all knew that. Look, Conte said it all in the build-up to January transfer window. I have to try my best with what we've got here. He's been saying it from day dot. And it's getting to the point now where he just cannot accept what's going on. And look, we're a poor team all over except for 4 players.
No, not that bad.
I get it, but look, I actually think we have a decent starting 11. Yes, you can improve. Look, well, a decent 9 players, I would say. You can still improve on Davies, in my opinion. 100% in the starting lineup. You could still probably get in another centre back. Look, Hugo Lloris is good. As much as people get on Emerson's back, I actually think he's good. He was involved in the game yesterday. I really like Romero, although he's poor yesterday. It was the first bad game he's had. Højbjerg, if people are expecting him to be Glenn Hoddle, I expect why they get pissed off. But if people are expecting him to be Wanyama, he does exactly what he says on the tin. Bentancur, I think, is a good player. Kulusevski uses the ball very, very wisely. I think he's a good player. Something Harry Kane, world class. We have the nucleus of creating a very good, strong starting 11 again. But what pisses people off is as soon as one of them players dip out, have to be rested or get injured, then you're relying on the same players that let us down time and time again. The only reason why some of them players are still here is because their attitudes were better than the Celso Ali's and Ndombeles and other players that have been here before. But it still doesn't mean they're good enough to be here. Just because you have a good attitude, it doesn't mean you have the right quality. Look, there is definitely positives going forward, but we have to build on it this summer. You have a good window of 5-6 quality players coming in here. This team can go places next season. It's not all that doom and gloom.
And we still have 14 matches to go this season. Remember that. There's still 42 points to be won this season. So we go on a run now of 4 or 5 wins on the trot. I mean, that top 4, okay, it's getting more difficult by the defeat. But the top 4 is still there for the taking if we go on a run.
You just sent shivers through Dark Sun G's spine with that one, Philip Brady. He's the only guy left, given that sort of logic. Honestly, I wish he were here for that. He would absolutely love you for that. The bottom Duda saying Liverpool let Coutinho leave, brought in top players with the money. Chelsea did it with the Hazard money. We let our bench players leave for free. Juve freed up money by letting CR7 leave. Where will the money even come from? This is always an interesting one to bottom Duda, but I feel like the money is there. I think people often do forget that Joe Lewis, not only does he not invest anything into the club, he also is a lot richer than people actually think. And in fact, I think we even broke it down on that quiz the other day, Dave. His net worth, or his billion net worth, is around 5.2 billion, I believe, at one stage as well. So the guy is worth a lot more than people probably realize. And then he doesn't exactly, Spurs aren't really big spenders, and Spurs, in fact, make a lot of money back every single season with all the expenses on tickets, on fare at the game, on kits and everything. I mean, Spurs, they do make a lot of money, not only from sales and everything, but also just the owners themselves certainly are not certainly have good means. I'll say that. But Dave, do you feel like, are we, do you just feel like, I'm not sure what the bottom dude is trying to say here. I think he's just saying Spurs have just not really run very good business. And he's saying he's not even sure where the money's going to come from.
I think I can get what he's saying. Look, I think he's basically saying if we want to go and rebuild the whole squad like we want to,
we have to take losses.
Sell a Kane or sell a Son, I think, is kind of what he's getting at. Because you pull out Coutinho to Liverpool at the time was probably their best player. They sold him. Hazard to Chelsea at the time, best player. They sold him. CR7 from Juve, that's a bit different. Yeah, they freed up money from his wages and stuff like that, but it just wasn't working out there. But the thing is, my problem is if we sell Son and Kane, do we have enough other quality players in the team that I can say we can still carry on with where we're at right now, but push on? No. I believe if we sell Son and Kane, or even sell one of them, the other one's form will drop. They won't be able to get as good numbers as they usually get. And we'll be relegation for it. We'll be down there in relegation if you don't have one of these two or both of these players up front. We have to remember, you think you're going to sell Kane and Son's going to continue on the numbers he has. Forget about it. Vice versa. You think we sell Son and Kane's going to continue the numbers he has. Forget about it. They're a duo. We cannot afford to sell them because, A, we don't trust the board to be able to put the money and spend it right on the players from what we've seen over the last few years. And B, we don't have enough infrastructure or quality players behind them that if you did get in a decent replacement for them, they're not going to get nowhere near the numbers that we get. And we have to remember, as these two carry this team in terms of the goals department every season. So you can't afford at Tottenham to get rid of one of them. Look, I have no problem taking a loss on Dele Alli. It was going to come. They didn't want to sell him when I wanted to sell him. You're always going to take that loss. But the money, there's money at this club. They have money. They can put in the money if they want. They're bringing in concerts. They're bringing in revenue from the ground. There's cash available. And they've all said it in January. There is money to spend here this summer. They've all said it. Wait till the summer. Wait till the summer. Every reporter that has connections to Tottenham, wait till the summer. There's money here to spend. So I'm not concerned about there not being money to spend. There's definitely money. It's whether it's how much they want to free up to spend is what my problem is.
Well, speaking of that, then, if Levy doesn't want to spend, he says he doesn't see a rebuild in the summer, especially with Paratici and Levy. Philip, I'm not sure what he really means here, but Philip and Dermot, do you feel like there is going to be, maybe just to answer it in some sense, do you feel like there is going to be a big summer expenditure? Do you feel like, there is actually some sort of reserves, available for Conte that normally there wouldn't be for another manager?
Is that you doing it to me?
Yeah, give it to Dermot.
Philip.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Go on, you go.
Okay. Well, harking back to the earlier discussion, if there's no money, if there's no rebuild in the summer, there's no Conte next season. So, the money has to be made available.
Yeah, it's actually
as
quite
simple
simple.
I don't get the thing, especially with Paratici and Levy. If you'd said Paratici and Conte, yes. Unless Paratici has learned some way to wheedle money out of Daniel Levy, or maybe he's just bought Joe Lewis a key for his safe or something like that, to get the money out of it. No, we have to spend in the summer. Levy cannot get away with another summer of not improving that squad. There's too much to lose. Too much to lose. He got away with it when Pochettino was there, because maybe Pochettino, brilliant manager, maybe he's too nice a guy. Maybe he didn't want to get in the chairman's face. That is not going to happen with Antonio Conte. Conte will be up there banging Levy's door down at 8 o'clock in the morning on transfer deadline day if we don't have our players at that stage. And if we haven't, he'll be handing his resignation.
I like that. Philip, but Dermot, I mean, is there going to be money to spend in the summer? What are your thoughts?
I would love to think there is, but I believe it when I see it. I just believe it when I see it. I mean, we all know Levy is a tight person.
Keep his cards close to his chest on this. Yeah.
And also with the rumors going around that Paratici, that PSG want Paratici now as well. So we could be losing Conte and Paratici if they both don't get what they want. So we could be losing two.
Pochettino back to replace them. That's the next question.
Yeah, but you bring Pochettino back, you're doing the same thing again. It's like a revolving door. It's just he won't come back because it's like a revolving door.
He'll come back if they're all gone except maybe Hugo Lloris, Harry Kane, and Son. The rest of them, he doesn't want to know them.
I hope they spend money in the summer. As you say, there is money to spend, but it's got to be left to Conte and Paratici to do it. It's got to be on their terms, not nobody else's terms. And my fear is if Levy gets to the summer, we leave it to the last minute and we're searching around for a quick freebie here and a freebie here. Conte will walk out. It's got to be done at the start of the summer, even before April. Start doing it in April, May.
You can't do it. You can't do it until the 1st of July, as far as I know. I think 1st of July. The contracts all finish on the 30th of June.
Yeah.
So you can't sign a player till the 1st of July. But
you can inquire. You can start inquiring about
you have the homework done.
Yeah.
You have the homework done.
Have your homework done. And then get the players. You do it early. And then Conte will have the whole pre-season with them to get them into what he wants.
But just a further issue on the money being available. Like, it's very rare for a big transfer that the whole transfer fee is paid over in one hit. Like, I saw one there recently. I don't know if it was a Barcelona or Real Madrid or maybe one of the Italian clubs. A 25 million transfer fee was paid over 7 years. 3 or 4 million a year. So 5 years. That was the length of the contract. 5 million a year. I mean, if we can't turn up 5 million, what are we doing in the Premiership?
Yeah.
A Championship side could buy that sort of money.
Yeah.
It all boils down to Levy and releasing the money. That's what it boils down to. And it's the same every season. And it's the same every year. And I hope it's different this year. I really do. I really hope it's different.
It has to be. This is last chance saloon for Levy. Last chance saloon. It's last chance saloon for all of us. Because if Conte walks, we ain't getting a decent manager, and with that, we're not, and the players will just walk. As David said, we'll be relegation fodder.
Yeah.
And look, regardless of what manager comes in here, right? Whether you bring in like a Ten Hag, someone young from Ajax, you're still going to need, right? Ajax produce 11 first-team quality players every single season. They get picked up by the top European clubs, and off they go, right? Now, he has the best talent to work with coming out of a youth academy. That's why he's successful. Bring him to Tottenham. He doesn't have that sort of youth to work with at Tottenham. And in order to require and buy that youth, you're talking big money. So he's not going to work. You bring in any manager that wants to come in here, you're going to have to buy them players. So unless you open the checkbook, it's not going to work. But why not open the checkbook under Conte, then somebody else? It's mind-boggling. But if you put yourself in Levy's situation, which no one wants to do, and I agree with, I don't want to do it either, but and we're going by the model he wants to work under, which we don't agree with either. We have now, there's no excuses left for him because we've cleared out players this January. There's a lot of wages that we're saving on over the course of January to the summer. Yes, they may be back, but we also have stuff in place where them parent clubs can buy them, and they're doing okay there, which is good, so keep doing well. We now have put ourselves in a position where we can actually act in the market early in the summer, really go after the targets we want. And they've said from January, there will be a lot of money there to spend this summer. So this summer, there is no hiding place whatsoever, because even if you put yourself in Levy's situation, everything has been put in place from the work that Paratici has done with clearing out all the players he has, so that even if you do work within the wage budget that Levy has set and he doesn't want to break, Paratici has done everything he can and put everything in place so that we can now act in that market this summer. So if they don't do it, Levy has nowhere to hide on this one.
He has nowhere to hide because he's now in a corner where he's going to have to do something. It's either put up or shut up.
I do want to add,
sell up. Sorry, I should say.
I do want to add, if Conte walks before the summer, that's both of them. You'd say Conte is a victim of everything that Levy has done up until this point that has made Conte walk and built the frustration. But you also have to understand that for Conte to not give the club a summer to be able to put stuff in place for him, where you have proper time to do it, that's also not on.
It's got to a point now where we've heard this so many times, summer after summer after summer after summer. There's money.
But we haven't had Conte in charge before. This is his first summer.
Yeah, I think the point is you could have Moses and Jesus in charge, and it still be the same thing out. They have to put their money where their mouth is. They're going to have to actually.
Well, what I'm trying to say then is there's more chance of it happening this summer than other summers.
Yeah. I really hope so, Philip. I really hope so.
Well, because it has to be. It just has to be. If it doesn't happen, then it's Armageddon time.
It's a death sentence. It's a death sentence. Cavcop Game, big up to bottom Duda, though. Big up to bottom Duda. Cavcop Gaming saying, can't blame players. You can't want them to do what they can't do. You can't expect a club with no investment to perform like one who does. Conte turns water into wine. Conte can't turn water into wine. To be fair, I think Conte is one of the better players. If any manager is going to turn water into wine, Conte is going to be the ones maybe to do it. And to be fair, actually, as well, Levy, the reason he does bring managers in the first place, Dave, is to turn water into wine. Actually, that's probably one of Levy's favorite tricks with managers is to find one that can turn water into wine, especially with the players that we have.
Look, he's already done it with Eric Dyer. Look, as Ben Davies is slipping in standards a bit lately, but he's got the very best out of him to even get a run of 15 games out of him. He's got the very best out of him.
He was at Harry Winks levels,
You know, Doherty has probably performed better this season than what he has done in previous seasons. That's not hard either, but he's got better out of Doherty. You know, so I'd even say he's probably got a bit more out of Winks, even though it's still crap and nowhere near good enough. He's probably got a bit more out of Winks. So he is kind of, basically he's turned as much water as he could into wine, but he can't do it anymore. There's not enough wine barrels to fill up. You know what I mean? He doesn't have enough barrels. You can't keep expecting him to do it with this Strauss. Like we've all said, Jack, we've said it here. Yeah, look, you can praise them for doing their job, no problem. But they're only doing their job. They're not excelling. But do not come back crying as soon as they slip the standards, because it's going to happen. And look what happened. It's happening already. They are not good enough consistency. Yes, they're good enough to come in for 1 or 2 games. But if you're relying on them over a period of games, forget about it. And they've shown their colours. And Conte can't. He's got the very best, the max. Look, with all his abilities and everything that he's put in place at other clubs to be able to be a winner, he's used it all here. And it's got to the point where I feel like he feels there's not a more he can give, you know what I mean, to try and get any more out of these players.
I completely agree, Dave. Cavcov, all I can say just quickly is I know maybe you can't blame the players if they can't do it, but they've shown it on certain occasions that they can, and then on certain occasions that they can. I think that's what makes it deeply frustrating. for Mr. Conte. But big up Capcom Gaming. Do really appreciate it.
Just quickly before we do move on, we're just the man, the myth, the legend himself. He has to go. There's some visitors there, but Philip, thank you for bringing some sanity to this situation. I've really enjoyed, the wise experience that you brought to this, the clarity and stuff like that. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thanks, lads. I mean, I've really enjoyed that. But let's hope that the future is bright starting on Saturday. That's the team put up a performance that Conte will be proud of this time and doesn't have to go into the press room afterwards to vent his spleen like he did the other night.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I have to go, lads. I can't get out of this one. So
no, you're all good. You're all good.
We'll see you soon. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
big
you
up.
See you, Jack. See you, David.
Catch you later. All right, everybody. We will push on, though, without the Godfather. Welsh Gal saying, why does there seem to be an issue with set pieces? Surely there's intel on the opponents. Seem to get caught out too much. Kind of interesting one, actually, to be fair. And even the James Ward-Prowse, deliveries for Southampton were close enough to set pieces. The guy, was standing right outside the box, and it was hit it in like a set piece. Dermot, do you feel like there's maybe something going up, around set pieces? Now Romero, didn't know what he was doing. It seems. Are you worried maybe a little bit? Are we turning into like a Leicester City, perhaps, when it comes to set pieces?
I feel we shoot ourselves in the foot sometimes, because I'm sure Conte has it all sorted before the game. And it's like every time we switched off. The 2 goals against Southampton, we switched off. We just always keep switching off defensively. And I think he's going to need a pre-season to drum it into them and drum it into them. Look, this is your job and you do your job. And I think that's the thing. He hasn't had a pre-season. So I think we're going to, again, as I said, we're going to have to take the bit of the pain this season until we can get to the pre-season and give them a whole pre-season with the team and then drill it into them and drill them hard.
Spot on. And just to add to that as well, look, 100% they get intel. Look, for me, the problem was here before Conte got here. We were all screaming about the problem under Nuno being beat from set pieces. There's 2 things to this. One is what Dermot said. When there's a set piece that happens, they think it's time for them to be able to tune out, relax for a minute, take a breather, and they forget to switch back on or they can't do it quick enough. 2, because it's been here under Nuno and now Conte, they're not taking on instructions. And 3, it comes down to just not doing the basics right. You look at Romero yesterday, he hadn't a clue where Ben Davies was. You've got to be touch tight. Every other defender that picked up a Burnley player, they were all touch tight with him, bar one, Romero. He didn't even know where he was. And by not being touch tight with him, he couldn't maybe drag him down when he was trying to jump. He couldn't compete with him in the air. So what he done is he gave Ben Mee that room, that Ben Mee had all the attacking momentum, came and attacked it, and Romero jumping was in it, may as well have not happened purely because Ben Mee's momentum just put him through it and gets a clean header on it. But if Romero's touch tight to him, jumps with him, A, he can stop him from jumping, or B, he can jump with him and Ben Mee doesn't get that much of a good header on the ball. So it's just a combination of, again, it's down to the players in my opinion. All the intel, all the cameras, all the stats, everything else. We have people employed in the club for stats to find out all of these things. It's all put in a pamphlet to the players before the games. It's up to them if they study or not.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Welsh Gal, there's your answer. 2 very well broken down answers, though. To bottom Duda again saying, who's next if Conte leaves? Jurgen Klinsmann. I think it's going to be Antonio Conte. I'm going to make a bet that he's still, trying to stick around. I don't want to make any more guesses anymore. To bottom Duda. Pick yourself up. I mean, hopefully not Jurgen. That's the wrong Jurgen. But big up to bottom Duda.
I would actually, just quickly though, I would actually give Jurgen a try if it came to it. I really would. That's it.
Bit crazy there, Dave. Bit suicidal. Jerome saying, lads, let's make this very clear. Leaving Enoch care more about the area of Tottenham than the club. The club is only a source of income for them to invest in hotels, homes, and cinemas in Tottenham. Dave, I mean, I think this is all very clear, and I think Jerome obviously knows this as well as we do. But perhaps we can maybe move on to something. Maybe we can allude to something, later, with what Jerome is saying here. Do you feel like maybe Enoch and Levy know what they're getting into, maybe with Antonio Conte? Because I know they would much rather be thinking about hotels and homes and investments and cinemas and whatnot. But now they have a bit of an issue here with Antonio Conte. Do you think, this is causing them the wrong sort of headache?
Do you know what, Jack?
Because I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure what to say to Jerome, because I think what Jerome is saying here, like, I think we know this very well, and I think Jerome is absolutely spot on. But just to maybe spice things up a bit, because I think we beat this drum plenty of times, Jerome. Ben, I think you're more than spot on. But just to twist your little comment, a bit around here, Jerome. I mean, Dave,
I can actually
do they know what they're getting into? Because do they know what they're getting into? Because Antonio Conte might distract them from maybe those sort of side projects.
No, look, I'll actually tie the two together here. So look, with Levy and Enoch, look, they were smart in getting into Tottenham at the time. They seen the Premier League was only going one way, and that was up and up and up, and it was generating more and more income, and the football going into income. So they knew what was going on. So smart investment by them. Not happy for the fans, of course, didn't turn out that way, but they got in there. And they seen an opportunity to be able to use that money then to go into other things, like Jerome is saying. But they were getting the best of both worlds. They bought in Pochettino. They couldn't believe their luck. We're challenging for trophies. We're in semi-finals, challenging for leagues, getting to a Champions League final. Everything was rosy. They were getting their top four money every single season. And they were loving it. All of a sudden, top four didn't look like a possibility. They're like, oh, shit. How are we going to be able to fund our properties? Right, we're going to have to sack Pochettino. We're leaking goals. That's the problem. Let's bring in the best defensive manager in the world, Jose Mourinho. Oh, guess what? We're still leaking goals, but a lot of fans are giving out about his man management, so let's sack him. Let's bring in Mason to the end of the season. Let's bring in Nuno. Let's see if we can get another Pochettino going. It was clear it wasn't going down that direction. Fans were getting pissed off. The pressure was mounting on Levy. So I do think I'm torn on this one, because I think Levy has been getting in the likes of a Mourinho and a Conte because he doesn't want to put as much money in. Because we can't say he hasn't put money, because they have put money in. We just have spent it badly. But does he want to put in as much money as this squad needs? Probably not. So he's probably hoping that Jose Mourinho and Conte can come in and do something that bit extra, that's something bit different, that maybe others haven't been able to do, to maybe mask how poor the squad is. But at the same time, I also believe that they may have panicked getting in Antonio Conte, because the fans were going mad. It's like, where do we go from here after getting rid of Nuno? Who wants the job? All of a sudden, they pulled off a worldie and brought in Antonio Conte. And it's like, that'll keep the fans happy. But now it's kind of blown up in their face again, where Conte's like, well, there is only so much I can do with these players. I still need the investment, and it's kind of like everything is coming to a head. So I expect Tottenham to be a very busy place this summer. So tune in to all the fan channels, because I expect it to be a crazy place this summer. I really do. And it's kind of like, have they, back to what you were saying as well, Jack, have they probably bitten off more than they can chew with this one? It's kind of like, right, if they sack him on the pretense that they're not happy with what he said in the press conference, okay, I can understand that, but he's only airing the frustrations that he has accumulated before he got here. The fans are not going to accept it. They're going to go into absolute meltdown, because, again, where do we go from this one? You're not going to pull in another worldie like that straight away again. So either way, the answer is spending money, and I think it's coming to a front, and I think they are a bit scared,
I reckon they are as well. But Jerome, big yourself up, my man, and thank you for making it into a good talking point here.
To that?
Sure,
I want to play devil's advocate here, right? I walked down to the stadium when I went over with you, Dave, and the rest of the lads, and I think I said to, I think it was Sean, or said to somebody, the area has been the same since I went to Tottenham as a kid. Nothing's changed. It was like I went back to the 80s. And let us not all forget, Levy and Enoch wanted to take us out of North London and put us into Stratford. So all this, that they care for they don't care about the area. If they cared about the area, they would give money to the council or put money into the area, Tottenham itself, and help spruce it up a bit. They don't care about the club. They don't care about the area. They care about making money.
I think they looked at the possibility of taking us out of Tottenham because it was the cheaper option. But when they realised they had to stay in Tottenham, they were always going to try and get themselves in. Okay, well, we want property. We want to be able to do this. We want to be able to do that. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the property that they end up selling or renting or whatever else, where's that money going to? Back to them.
Exactly.
You know, it's a win-win situation regardless of what happened there.
The area is in a major need of something of an investment, and that should come from the football club, because the club, that's where the club Tottenham is. Tottenham. Lee and Kanevi don't want to back the managers, but they don't want to invest in Tottenham either. And I think it's a crying shame, because I mean they should be putting more into the community. And if they were seen to put more into the community and back the manager and put more into the community, they may have more people on their side. But because they don't do neither, people are just saying, look, we've had enough. You don't do nothing for the community. You don't do nothing for the manager. What are you here for? And then it's just them making money. So, you know, it's a hard one, because you really want to shout and scream.
Yeah.
But what I saw when I was over there, it broke my heart, because it was like going back into the 1980s again. Yeah. And I just thought to myself, come on, man.
Just quickly, I just seen something in the chat. Just quickly, Neo is out again. The hater, he's got his claws out. He's gonna like that one. Another animal joke that he's still crying about. He's got his claws out. Look, whatever your problem is with me, please don't project it onto Jack or any other panelists we have on this channel. Your problem is with me, not them. Sorry, Jack.
DG in here, Dave, saying Ryan Mason is as good a coach as a Conte. According to Conte, anyone can do it the same. This was something I was a bit upset about, DG. It felt like he was doing a bit of kind of a sulking sort of moment where he was just kind of saying out loud, like, well, you know, maybe I'm just not good enough, you know, for the job. Like, maybe, you know, like, well, if I'm not good enough, then, you know, maybe the board should, you know, fire me. And basically what he's just trying to say is, clearly I am very good. If I'm not good enough in order to get the best of these players, who the hell is? And I guess under that pretense, under Antonio Conte's logic, you're exactly right, TG. Might as well just put Ryan Mason in charge. And he is grooming Ryan Mason as we speak. And certainly these words, I can't wait for Ryan Mason to do his best impersonation of this sort of rant from Antonio Conte. But that's all I can say, my man. Under that sort of sulking logic of Conte, certainly Ryan Mason would be the best one. But DG, pick yourself up, my man.
Pick up DG. He's an absolute legend. I like that guy.
Faz Radfar saying, has Conte talked today? Is Bentancur injured? That's all going to be happening tomorrow, Faz Radfar. That's all going to be happening tomorrow, I think, with the press conference, my man, as well as
no news on Bentancur.
Sorry, Dave, yeah?
Yeah, just no news on Bentancur. Well, actually, strangely enough, under Conte, we don't get that news during the week. We always get a pre-match presser.
Yeah, exactly. You always get a pre-match
presser. Okay. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
To bottom Duda saying Conte is angry because this team cannot play 2 games in 1 week. They're good at playing 1 game in a week. I'm worried about the Leeds game. There is a question at the very end of the show to bottom Duda about exactly that. Yeah. I will kind of maybe get to it a little bit quickly. Basically, there are some worrying stats, my man, that it feels like Conte only seems to be guaranteed a win if he has at least 5 days of training. If he has fewer than 5 days, his record is decent, but the last few results and the last defeats would have all come under fewer than 5 days of training. So maybe does show that the guy does need lots of preparation in order to get any sort of result out of the squad, which does make me very, very worried to bottom Duda. And that is maybe perhaps why he's also so angered, is because he knows he needs more time in order to get results. But to bottom Duda, my man, do big yourself up, brother. Do big yourself up.
He got the ball. He's on the ball, that guy. Always on the ball.
And then as well, we got Benedict Tampa saying, read a good comment earlier. If it's so apparent that our wingbacks aren't currently working, why not stop using wingbacks until we have the personnel? Probably true. I mean, Benedict, the same time though, you kind of would look at it like, why then that's not really Antonio Conte's fault. Why hire Antonio Conte in the first place if we're not going to, you know, if we feel like the wingbacks aren't good enough? Why are we making Antonio Conte change his system the system that he really thrives with, the system that he plays his best with and gets his best results with, if we're going to make him change systems for the players that we have, then we probably shouldn't have hired him in the first place. That's my answer. But Benedict, Dave, sorry, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
We switched to a back four. Just think
we have been doing it mid-game a lot. Yeah.
Think of the amount of goals we shipped last season in a back four under Jose Mourinho. People were sitting there last season in a back four going, well, if we don't have the players to play a back four, why don't we play a back five? Conte has come in and played a back five. Okay, the wing backs aren't working, but our 3 centre backs are working once you have them all fit and ready. Dyer, Romero, and Davies. Yes, I know Romero was at fault for the goal yesterday, but we can all agree that that's our strongest back three. They look strong as a back three. As soon as you take one of them out, look how calamitous it is. That's going to be a lot worse than the two. But also, it doesn't matter whether you're playing them wing back or full back. You're still going to have the same problems. It's not eliminating the problem whatsoever. In fact, I actually think having them have wing backs is probably actually helping them more because they don't have to do as much of the defensive side of the game. Whereas if you played them in a four, it would be completely exposed. So I get what people are saying, but when we played the back four last season, look how shocking it was. We know Davies cannot play in a back four. Take yourself back to Antwerp when he played left side centre back in a back four. Crap. Wolves conceded a goal last minute. Dyer all over the place in a back four last season. Don't have the players to play.
Dave, can I ask you put something to you? Would you play 3 at the back and then play 5 in midfield with 2 wingers? I just have 1 holding midfield player. So don't play the wing backs at all. Just play 5 across the middle.
But Bentancur and Højbjerg can play in the midfield too. Why should we have to change it to suit Harry Winks?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if just I'm just putting something out there. But if you played
to
without
get rid of the wing backs, maybe to not use wing backs, I think is what he's saying. Yeah,
and play 2 wingers instead of wing backs, would that work? I know you're saying about Harry Winks.
Who are you going to have defending at left back? Who are you going to have defending the flanks to be able to help out the defenders? I can see what you're saying, but in that system, who's going to defend the flanks? Who's going to defend stuff from the left and the right? We can clog up the middle all you want, but then you're going to create another problem, which is out wide. Ideally, what you want is strong players in every position. So no matter what the opposition try, you have the answers for it. Look, no matter what way, we can bring in another manager tomorrow. We'll go on another new manager bounce like we've seen. His tactics will work. All of a sudden, we'll stop winning and people be there. We need to change tactics, this, that, and the other. We cannot keep going through this cycle. At some stage, a manager's going to have to come in. This is the way we're playing. You're not good enough. You're gone. Regardless of who comes in here, someone's going to have to stick to some way of playing. Pochettino stuck to one way of playing, but the difference is we gave Pochettino time to work it out. We're not doing that with some of these managers right now. As soon as we lose, straight away, we want to talk about his tactics. He didn't make substitutions. That's all we talk about. But in order to get where we were under Pochettino, you have to give the guy time. Pochettino cleared out, I think, 12 players out of this club? Brought in the players to be able to play his way. What can't we give Conte that time?
Yeah.
I mean, Conte should be allowed to as well. It seems like he's going to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dermot. Sorry.
I just want to say about this Nino fella, right? Hey, I want to say something. I want to back David up here. I've known David for over a couple of years now, and I met him going to Tottenham. He is one of the nicest, gentlest men you'll ever wish to meet. He is a gentleman. He's always been there to help me when I've needed help. If you don't like watching this channel, right, Nino or Nuno, whoever you want to call yourself, feck off somewhere else and go and watch your Arsenal channel and leave David alone, because that man does not deserve anything but respect.
No, I appreciate it, man, but it is my problem. It is my problem.
I know. I'm just getting. It's not fair.
Let's give people the attention actually that deserve it. People with their football opinions and that. Screw them.
Al Ben in here saying he took the job knowing we have Kane and Son that are world class, but then see how poor the level of the others are. He seems to regret his commitment. This is partially something I'm really worried about, Al, is Antonio Conte. Maybe he knew that the club was not in a good state, but did he really know that the club was in the state that it is? We all kind of originally said, Al, like, of course he does. Like, he has all the time in the world to do the research. He has all the time, to know the ins and outs of, what the state of the club is, what the state of the squad is. But perhaps he really doesn't. And, perhaps you really can't get a real, inclination on what, the squad is like unless you're really there yourself. And I'm a bit worried about that. I'll be honest. I can't decide whether he actually did know about it ahead of time or whether he really is all of a sudden kind of regretting his commitment, like you said. But Dave, do you think that's the case? Do you think, Antonio, is it a lot worse than maybe he could have ever have imagined? That's something that just terrifies me if that were the case.
I think it's the same. Look, didn't Jose Mourinho say something similar, before? Where
this is a lot worse than
from the outside.
And he actually said it. He said it after the Mura result, I believe, as well, or something. Antonio did to a degree.
Yeah, so it's you're spot on, Al, Ben. It's kind of like we've heard these quotes from managers before, where it's like from the outside it didn't look as bad, but once you're in there, it's 10 times worse. So. What more can I add? I mean, Jose Mourinho said it, Antonio Conte has said it, and if you're not going to listen to the words of whether people like them or not, words of people that have won trophies and are winners, then who are we going to stop and listen to?
No.
They've been there and they've done it,
Spot on, Dave. Matthew C. saying for top 4, we'll probably need to win 9 to 10 games out of the 14 remaining based off of previous seasons. Seems tough even without considering current form. Matthew, this is probably why maybe I've seemed so down maybe the past 2 days or something like that. I kind of really have given up on top 4. I really have pushed for it really, really hard. I kept my hopes for it probably longer than a lot of people. I wasn't like probably a lot of people that wanted to be, I told you so. I told you we weren't getting top 4. I really did want to believe a variety of different reasons for how we could. And now I feel a bit left down, and especially with your sort of comments here with what maybe it would take in order to actually get there. It's kind of why I'm sort of feeling that way. But Matthew, do appreciate you now reminding me mathematically how hard it is, to probably do it.
Don't give up. We can do it. We can go on a 10 or 12 game repeat run. We can.
I wish Dark Sun G were here to challenge it. I wish Dark Sun G were here to challenge it.
All I can say is that hopefully we've got all of our mistakes, our losses out of us, and now we can go on another run that we were under when Conte first came in. You go on that run that we were on, which was 9 games when Conte first came in. There's your top 4. Look, I'm one of these guys. Never give up till it's mathematically impossible.
We can do it. Like Cooper says, the double's on. You've got to
probably
believe.
Is a bit, look, we probably are being a bit optimistic here. Let's be honest. You look back, we have lost 3 out of our last 4. It's kind of like 4 out of our last 5. It doesn't look that way, but look, just try and be like me and Dermot, I guess is what we're saying. Try and keep the optimism until someone blows out the candle. Try and keep that flame until someone blows it out.
And there is only Coke in this. There's no vodka in this, by the way.
Yeah,
I am sober saying that.
Not this time. Baz Radfire saying our Winks Doherty next on Conte's chopping board. Doherty perhaps, especially after that most recent display. But Winks, maybe. I mean, Dave, he really did blow up after this result and having to use Winks. And after this performance, maybe Winks is now getting on the chopping board, and maybe the teacher's pet, kind of, I don't know, like kind of, cookie points or, all over.
Look, Conte was asked a question about Harry Winks, and all he could say is he has a good attitude. He didn't say anything about his passing ability. Nothing about
he didn't say anything about him.
He literally said he has a good attitude. That's the answer. We know this guy's blunt. He's not going to sit there and say, "Oh, he's Iniesta, he's shabby." He's not going to big him up to somebody he's not. All he said is he has a good attitude. That's why he's here. So, I mean, come the summer, the minute he gets a chance to get rid of him, you best believe he's gone. Same as Doherty. You best believe he's gone. Look, it's just not good enough. If we know this, you think a guy that has won Serie A titles, Premier League titles, doesn't know this? Of course he does.
I think we've got the worst group of players in that squad we've had in donkeys of years. Even under Aussie, we had decent players. The likes of Winks, Doherty, Sanchez. I've never seen worse players for Tottenham. Or there probably have been, but
I would say, though, Dermot, we've a better squad this year than what we did have last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Romero and the players that they've brought in. But Winks and Doherty, Lord Jesus, whoever told them they were footballers?
Nothing will change as long as they remain squad players.
Exactly. Whoever told them they were good at football, they either bribed them or they were blind, because they couldn't blow their way out of a paper bag, the pair of them.
Definitely. All right, we are going to keep moving on, though, lads. And, the next question that I did have in mind was still having to do with these quotes. There's a ton of super chats that came in, though, everybody. And just want to say really massive support. And really, really do appreciate it. I mean, you guys really covered a lot of the show. Guys could have taken it over, yourselves, I must say. The Harris Army could have ran it themselves, Dave. They took me out of a job for that one. So I would say well done to you. Well done to all of you, but really appreciate the support. But Dermot, do you feel like maybe Antonio Conte's, comments, are they maybe dangerous enough? Are they kind of hurtful enough for maybe Levy and Enoch to perhaps, consider his future at the club? Do you feel like they tolerate this sort of PR? And even if he is upset, are his hands maybe, let's say Levy is upset, are his hands maybe tied behind his back? I mean, how do you feel like Levy is, handling this whole situation? Do you think he's quite upset? Do you think he even cares? Do you think he's, what do you think his state of mind is? Because I think it is quite interesting. Do you feel like he tolerates this sort of outburst from, Conte?
I think he's currying in the corner of the boardroom, hiding. Because I think he's scared crap that Levy's going to come in and just give him one. I mean, if that was any chairman, they would think, right, sit up and take notice. And you could say to Levy, right, Tottenham are going bankrupt, God forbid, but just saying that, it wouldn't bother him. Nothing bothers the man. He just sits there with this nice little smile, with his little bald head, nice little smile, sits there every home game, and it doesn't bother him. So I don't think what Conte said would bother him or scare him. I think it affects us more, the fans. I think it affects some of the players like Kane, Son, Holberg, Luis, the senior players. I think they will take notice. The fans definitely take notice. The press will just play on it. But leaving the board, no, they wouldn't be bothered by that. They just tried to gag him. Don't say that again. And the more you gag him, the more he's going to say. So whatever they're trying to do ain't working because they're a bit thick, to be honest with you, our owners. All right? They're like a bunch.
Tuning in, we're not promoting a porno, by the way.
I've just realised what I've just said, actually. Oh, Lord Jesus. Yeah. But to me, nothing will bother. I'm going to shut up now.
No, that was excellent. I was loving it. Give me a good chuckle. I need it today.
Just trust me to do a clanger halfway through a stream. But no, I don't think, Jack. I don't think it's bothered them. I think that they're just. I mean, they're too thick. Honestly, Joe Lewis is somewhere. I don't know where he is. He's probably in the moon somewhere. God knows. He never comes to the club, and Levy just sits there, just like a nodding dog. So, do you know what I mean? I don't think it would bother them. No.
Lewis would probably spend, our transfer budget getting on, probably, Elon Musk's spaceship or whatever. Yeah, absolutely, Dermot. Yeah. But Dave, do you feel like Levy tolerates this sort of PR? Does he recognize, maybe the damages, the impacts of maybe what Antonio Conte could be saying? Is Levy perhaps upset with Conte and perhaps is, maybe considering his future after what he said? Or do you think Levy even cares?
Look, I think one thing we can all agree on here, I don't actually think Levy is kind of phased about any of the outside noise, any of the outside opinion till it comes to him in the stadium. But
probably true.
I was there at the Wolves game, Jack. He's got a new way of crowding that one out. Just pump up the most poppy music you can find, pump it up to the loudest till fans get sick of the noise until they leave, so that they can't be heard. So, if you are going to want to voice your frustrations now, you're just going to have to sneak in banners and hold them out that way if you want them out, because you're not even allowed to boo anymore, Jack, because
I noticed that as well, Dave. As soon as we started booing, the music went straight up. It was I've never heard that before. It was like, right, okay, he's listening. He's probably got a little button somewhere, he presses, right, bring the music
thing
on.
is, look, it's not just him. It's all around the world. People that have that much money, they don't listen to people that like us who are fans, or they don't listen to the media. They don't care. They don't have to. You know what I mean? They have that much money. They can just find new ways of drowning out the noise. So it doesn't matter. They're never going to listen to us.
No.
Benedict Tampa is saying, just a thought, lads, a Harris Army meetup in London for a future game. Maybe get a crowdfunder. Would be legendary to meet all up in person. Come on, you Spurs.
West Ham, Jack. We're there.
West Ham, Benedict, if you are available for West Ham, my man, hopefully you are. March 19th. That is the day that I will be there. David will be there. Plenty of people will be there, so I'm told. I'm also, I believe Ellie might be there as well. She's the one that I'll be attending the game with. So if that's the one you can attend, Benedict, there will be hopefully just huge meetup with everybody. So that will be the one. No need to organize one, because that should be the one, my man. That should be the one. But Benedict, pick yourself up, brother.
And just quickly, look, even if we can't do it before the game, we will sit somewhere. We'll park ourselves somewhere after the game for a few hours. Come down, have a drink, come and meet us, and hopefully all of us that the Irish Hotspur Army who've been on a journey from the start, or whether you've come on through the journey, you're more than welcome to come down, meet us. Let's have a drink. Even if you don't drink, have a glass of Coke, and let's all have the crack.
Yep, there you are, Benedict. Sounds like a blast.
And I'm being awkward. I'm going to the Brighton game, so I'm missing it completely.
Well, yeah, someone's got to be yelling at Harry Potter, for Dave. So you're taking the noble route. You're taking the noble route.
Yeah. Oh, you better give it to him for me, Dermot.
I will do, Dave. I will do.
We are going to move on to the next bit of quotes. And the reporter asked him, are the players making the same mistakes that's causing the losing? And Antonio Conte said, in this moment, it is important to speak about mistakes or other situations. The reality is that we lost 4 of the last 5 games. With this situation, we have to fight for the relegation zone if we continue this path. I repeat, it will be important for everybody to understand very well the situation, because for sure you have to make an assessment of the club first of all. Repeat, I am available for the club for every decision. I come here to help the club, but in the moment it is very difficult because I am not happy in the club. And for me, the situation is very frustrating. Dave, do you think Conte is alluding to not being listened to maybe in these comments? He did say that he is available for the club for every decision. He said, I came here to help the club. Do you think maybe he's alluding to the fact that he has come here and has offered his services with every aspect of the club, and maybe he's saying he's not being listened to?
100%. Look, although we got in Kulusevski and Bentancur, and I do believe they're good players, I do believe they're quality and they will help. Is it exactly what Conte wanted? Maybe not. I think, that interview that came out there a couple of days ago that he done damage control on, where he kind of said, I'm looking for experience. They don't want to go down that route. That what he said in that was exactly giving us the answer to your question, Jack. They're not listening to him. He wants players for the here and now ready to go. But we want to bring in players that he has to develop. So straight away, there's 2 different ideas there. In terms of what you're saying about the club being in a mess, well, we already know it is. Partici's come in, he's ripping up the whole scouting department. He's having to build a footballing infrastructure from the ground up. So how much are they listening to Conte? It kind of says everything there. His quotes. He's frustrated. He's getting annoyed. He wants to hear and now. They didn't want to do that. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Completely with you, Dave. Dermot, what are your thoughts? Is Conte trying to demonstrate that he will, do anything to help the club, improve as soon as possible for, his own image? Or do you think he truly means that? Do you think he does truly mean that he will do anything to help this club improve as soon as possible? And maybe he's just saying that they haven't, gone to him, for everything, and they haven't, asked him to help with everything. Is that what he's trying to convey? Is that he is trying to help in every way?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he realizes we haven't won anything for so long. He wants to give something the fans to hold on to taste victory. He's a winner. He knows the fans are winners. He's a winner. So, yeah, he would be. Yeah, and he's trying to tell the board, do it my way, you will win trophies. What are you interested in? Top 4 and that's it? Or do you want to win silverware? And they're just That's what they're not listening to him because they're interested in not silverware. Mourinho wants to win trophies. He wants to enjoy it with the fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's simple. You go into football to win cups. You don't go into football just to reach top 4. You don't get a medal for top 4. You know, the 4th is losers. That's you losing. You get into the Champions League. Yippee. That lasts 5 minutes. What's next? Okay, I'll go and make myself scrambled egg on toast. You win a trophy, a few days, you're on a buzz. It's not taking the best drug in the world. You've won the FA Cup.
Lasts for years, even.
Yeah. I mean, we've taken the drug for the last, God knows, 20-something years. I mean, it's a great drug we've taken. They've had us all knocked out. Now we're waking up and realising, oh, crap, what have we done? So winning trophies, that's what Tottenham's about. We owned the FA Cup. We owned the League Cup. We won European trophies. And I feel sorry for the younger fans. I feel sorry for the likes of you and Dave and Jack, because you haven't seen this win stuff. I've seen this being really successful, and that really upsets me because you haven't felt what I felt. And the likes of Josh and most of the people, I don't know in the comments, but some of them probably haven't seen us win anything. And that's not what being a football fan is about. Football fan is about, and Conte gets it because he's played for Italy. I've seen him play. He's managing how he played with passion, with wanting to be a winner. And that's what being a footballer is. You want to look back at the end of your career. I won a cup. I won an FA Cup. I won a Champions League. I won a UEFA Cup. I won a League Cup. I won the Premier League. You don't want to look back at the end of your career. What did you win? I got top 4 all the time. That's not gonna. You're not gonna tell your that's gonna last 5 minutes with the grandkids. Do you know? I swear to God, some of the players and the owners don't have the mentality of what Tottenham is about. To dare it to do. It's not to dare not to do.
No, it isn't, Dermot.
It's simple.
It is simple, and I completely agree with you. We are going to kind of break down more of, maybe what has been said here. Dave, is this a lose-lose situation for Enoch and Levy? If Conte spends, Enoch and Levy, they have to spend big. If Conte leaves, every fan's at their throat. You could look at it as a lose-lose situation for them. Despite Antonio Conte may looking like a 12-year-old, boy, kind of sulking and throwing his toys out the pram here, Dave, regardless of that situation, he stays, they have to spend, he leaves. I don't know. The fans are at their throat. So is this a lose-lose situation for Enoch and Levy?
Yeah. I do believe so, but I say that knowing that every single time they've won, you know, that sort of way. So, like, you look at it, you weigh it up. If Conte leaves, where do you go from here? Neil Warnock, Sam Allardyce, someone like that. Harry Potter from Brighton.
Steve Bruce.
So, but then, and then you're also going to have a lot of fans at your door. But we also know they either just choose to ignore it and set off to the Bahamas for a few weeks till it's all cooled down, or else they pump up the music in the stadium. So you look at it and say, yes, it's a lose-lose, but they always win-win.
No, I think it probably, do you think if Conte leaves like right now, Dave, he looks like, a bit of a, I don't know, let's say he just looks like a bit of a 12-year-old, for maybe kind of sulking and leaving. Do you think that's really any sort of shame on his record? Do you feel like that even really matters in the whole scale of it all when it comes to what that could mean for Enoch and Levy? Because, what I mean to say is, could Conte's departure distract enough from people maybe pointing the finger at Enoch and Levy?
No, look, we lose, people go to Levy. We lose a manager, people go to Levy. It doesn't matter what we do, people go to Levy anyway. They just choose not to listen to it.
Yeah, it's probably fair. I just wanted to push, just wanted to push it a bit further. But Dermot, what are your thoughts on it? Is it a lose-lose situation for Enoch and Levy? Conte stays, they have to spend. They don't like doing that. If Conte leaves, the fans are at their throat with pitchforks and torches. So is it a lose-lose situation for them?
It is. They're damned if they do and damned if they don't. I mean, if he doesn't back Levy, it doesn't back Conte, he's going to get it in the neck. I mean, he thinks I have to give. Don't believe I'm saying this, and I will have to wash my mouth out with soap and water after this stream. But you have to give Levy a little bit of credit. He has built us a world-class stadium, and I have to say it's the best stadium I've ever been in my life. It really is. Yeah, you can understand from the other side for the infrastructure. Yeah, they've done brilliant, but they have got managers like they brought in managers like Mourinho, Conte, but they haven't backed them. There's no point having all this world-class stadium without backing a manager. So they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. I mean, but he's just going to sit there and just take it. Nothing's gonna, he's going to sit there like a dinosaur with thick skin and just sit there and just go, I wonder what I'll have for dinner tonight. And the fans are shouting Levy out to him. I wonder, should I buy that Mercedes or that Bentley next week? It doesn't care. He's probably looking around thinking, I wonder if I go to Barbados on my holiday trip. You've got fans there shouting and pitchforks and everything. I don't think he doesn't care. And that's the thing. He doesn't care. It's water for ducks back to him. I mean, he sacked Martin Yole at halftime. A man that can sack a manager like Martin Yole at halftime has got no soul. He's got nothing.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. You're probably right there, Dermot. Dave, Conte goes on to say that he will meet with the club in order to assess the situation that he seemed so amped about. Will this meeting end with Conte being happier and being assured by Levy, or will this meeting end with Conte being one step closer to walking, or is this meeting even going to happen in the first place, Dave?
Oh no, the meetings happen. Like, if you think Daniel Levy's going to let Conte keep speaking out like that, let's think about that again, because Daniel Levy will try and gag them, like Dermot said earlier, try and gag them or stop them from talking as much as they can about internal problems. But at the same time, Conte holds all the cards. He has the fans behind him. He has the squad behind him. Especially the players that he needs in the squad behind him, likes of Kane, Son or Lloris. He has them behind him. So he holds all the cards. He can go into this meeting and basically he's saying, you show me exactly how much you have for transfers this summer. I can spend every penny of it. And if not, I'm out of here. And Conte, he doesn't need Tottenham. Let's be honest about it. I know some people are saying, if he leaves Tottenham, he won't go to another job and another top job. No, he will. He will go to another top job where they'll back him. United will be crying out for a manager. There's one. Wouldn't surprise me with Dortmund's exit today. Will they be looking for a manager? There's another job. And the list goes on. There's going to be top clubs around Europe looking to get in a manager who will have cash come the summer to be able to spend. He doesn't need Tottenham. Tottenham need him, so he holds all the cards. So, look, for me, I do think Levy has to maybe give in to Conte and give him what he wants, because one thing I will say is Levy can't afford to let Conte go, because I do think, because the fans really like him, I do believe that a lot of fans who maybe weren't Levy out will turn to Levy and be like, what the fuck is going on? They may not necessarily turn to be staunch Levy out, but they will turn to Levy and be like, look, what's going on? So everything will point at him from all roads. So I'll be very interested to see what happens. But like I said, Conte holds all the cards, and I do think Daniel Levy will have to bow down to him. I don't think Daniel Levy can go in and strong arm him and say, look, you're the manager, I employ you, you do this, you do that. Because if he does that, we know how passionate Conte is. You just walk out of the room and you go and hold a press conference and it'll spill off. He done it after he left Chelsea. What did he say about Chelsea? I hope they get relegated. You know what I mean? You just leave, he'll walk out. He has no problems. He's left jobs before if they're not going to do it his way. It's his way or the highway.
Yeah. And took them as well. And took Chelsea to court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dermot, what about Conte's last words last night upset you? Are you not that bothered by what he said? I think we should just reaffirm that. Is there anything about, what he said? Do you feel like he overstepped in any way? Do you think there's something where maybe, he crossed the line with you? Is there anything that maybe he said that bothered you? I mean, where are you maybe with his words? Because while we may agree with everything he said, is there any stage at which he maybe crossed the line for you?
No, he didn't say enough. The only thing is, he didn't say enough. He should have gone all guns blazing because, as Dave said, he's holding all the cards. So it's for the first time we have a manager letting us know what's happening behind closed doors. For the first time, we've got a manager who said, look, they didn't back me.
Mm-hmm.
And, Levy has now got to do what he's never done before. That's spend money. I know that is hard for a tight person to spend money. Yeah, you can say he spent money in the stadium. He's done the infrastructure. Yeah, great. But he has to spend money on the squad. We want to be winning Champions Leagues, FA Cups. To do that, you spend money. You spend money to accumulate. And doing that, you're buying the best players that you can get. That means going after the what's his name, the Juventus player.
For us?
No, the Argentinian
Dybala, yeah.
You buy him. You should have gone the striker that went to Juventus. We should have got him. There should have been no questions asked. Don't go in 10 million lower. Do that. And Conte's right for this. I've got no problem. I really don't have a problem. And yeah, I was worried last night he was going to leave, and I thought, oh God, here we go again. And the more I thought about it, the more no, he won't leave. He won't leave. And yeah, he does need a bit of the black stuff as well. We'll slip that into him. He's like us Irish.
James's Gate, he'd be all right. A day out in St. James's Gate for the Guinness factory, he'd be grand.
Conte's like us Irish. He's passionate and he won't back down from a fight. And this is him now. The players won't do it. And fair play to them fans last night. They went all the way up to Burnley. Every one of them should have their tickets refunded. Every one that I heard them from start to finish. They outsung the Burnley fans. And he can hear that as well. So he's like a fan. He's passionate. So Levy has to listen. So Mr. Conte, keep talking the good fight because I'm backing you all the way.
Legend.
I love it.
I just want to say to everybody, make sure you are smashing that like button. Make sure you are smashing that subscribe button as well, guys. And feel free to get your super chats in with your talking points, whether you agree, disagree, questions, whatever it may be. It's a great way to support the channel, guys. But look, keep getting your comments in like you're already doing into the chat, and we will get them up on screen. Just the super chat basically means we skip to the queue, or you skip the queue, we get straight to it, and we have a good discussion on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody do get your super chats in to either answer the question or even put your own questions to the panel. Just like Dave said, also really does just support the channel. But Dave, after the Man City match, Conte was praising the squad and having a laugh with the press. Life seemed good at the time. Now he's the complete opposite after the Burnley result. How do we read his feelings on Spurs? Has he completely flip-flopped? Do these polar opposite reactions to the results worry you, Dave? Or does it make it just seem like hot air? Like, is it really just hot air for Conte? Or is there maybe something to be said about these sort of polar opposite reactions?
Look, like we said, he's passionate. I mean, he probably got carried away after the City game, to be honest with you. We all did. No one expected it. We were all absolutely high off it. We couldn't believe that we went up to the Etihad, the team top of the league, one of the best teams in Europe, and we bet them. We couldn't believe it. But we have to remember that win also came off the back of what he said the week leading up to that game in the interview, and how the media spun it. And also he had to come out after that game, especially after winning, and say something like he did. But as soon as he put out the same players, same formation, this, that, and the other, and we still lost the game. And I think, his frustration then did come out, with the players. And does it send mixed messages? Yes, it probably does. But at the same time, Jack, it's back to something old school where you got to praise people when they do the right thing, but then you also got to bollock them when they do the wrong thing so that they know not to do that again. And Conte's old school, and that's exactly what he's doing here, Jack. Praise him, because no point of him bollocking him after a City when everyone will go, what you talk about, he lose the dressing room. He has to praise him after that result, but it's just like the old thing. You get praised when you do the right thing, and you get bollocked when you do the wrong thing. It's up to the players now to stand up and be counted, see which way they want to go with it.
Yeah, that's such an interesting take on it. Dermot, what are your thoughts on Conte's polar opposite reactions? Because, after Man City's, when, he was, talking about, you can't get your striker and your goalkeeper wrong, but you can get your wife wrong. He was saying, he was having, good times with the press and everything. Life seemed good at the time. And now he's, come out with this after this result. Is this just hot air with Conte, or do you think maybe there's something to be said with these reactions?
He's led by the results. If we win, then he's on cloud 9. If we lose, like, he's down in the dumps. So
kind of like us, to be fair.
It's very bipolar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like us.
1 minute. I think I can lock into that. I can understand that, because after a win, you're excited, the adrenaline's buzzing in you, and you're ready to go. Then you're losing. Oh God, here we go. What am I going to do now? I think I love it. I just love him as a manager. I think he's brilliant. I've loved him. I've loved him when he was manager of Italy, and not when he was at Chelsea, because I didn't like him then. Don't like Chelsea at all. But when he was Italy manager, you could see the passion, and that Kane's locked into that. Son's locked into that. Holberg, Romero, the 2 new players, Luis, you can see they're all locked into that. And if we get players that can lock into that, we're going to be unstoppable next season. I honestly do think we'll do a double next season, 2 cups, or do a league. I honestly can see us doing the double under Conte and matching the 61 double side, because I think with Conte in charge, we can go there. I really do. I really believe that. I honestly do believe that we can actually match the 60 side if let Conte get who he wants, and then get the right players in. We can match the 60 side. I really believe that with Conte in charge.
Absolutely, Dermot. To bottom Duda, Conte at Inter after losing to Dortmund. We are talking about players who, apart from Godin, never won anything. Who do we turn to? Barella for Cagliari. This is how Conte challenges his players. This is a psychological game. This is actually really, 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 really good quote here to bottom Duda. This is something that's often spoken about, because during that Inter season, he did have that moment where he loved all these players. He wanted Barella. He wanted some of the players that he brought in at Inter Milan. And then at one stage, he was saying, like, how do you expect me to win with, this player who has, only had, X amount of experience? How do you expect me to do this? He has these outbursts that, to a degree, kind of make no sense, and kind of, are not really a reflection on what he said before. And this is kind of what the question was in the first place to bottom Duda. Is there maybe something to be said with what Conte said here? Or is this really just a guy who's just blowing hot air and actually has no idea what the hell he's saying? And a lot of it is just deeply untrue. And in fact, it's just him just being kind of a bit of a brat and maybe throwing his toys out the pram. And despite him throwing his toys out the pram, he's still a damn good manager at the end of the day. So I don't know, Bottom Duda. I think exactly what you're saying here is a really good quote to use for maybe this whole situation. If you use the quote that Bottom Duda has taken here, you probably actually feel a bit rest assured, because, he said that quote and then he went on to win the league, with Inter. Even after getting second place, I believe, with Inter the first stage, he actually was absolutely livid about it. And he was like basically saying, oh, what's the point? Why are we even doing this if I'm only going to get second, kind of sort of response. The guy is a bit of a lunatic. So to bottom Duda, I just want to say, not only for the really huge super chat, but also just for this comment here, I think it really helps drive the discussion.
He's absolutely
running the show.
We can end the show.
He can end the show. He can end the show. He's answered the question. No offense, better than anyone else, as well. Like, I absolutely love it. I even heard this from a lady that I think is an absolute genius on The Guardian as well, who knows a lot about the Serie A. She said the same thing about Antonio Conte. One day he'll be as high as he'll be on cloud 9. The next day he'll be like slamming into some of his favorite players in the team. And maybe it just is the fact that the guy just can't really handle himself, and just kind of breaks down at certain moments. And maybe it just shows the human in all of us. But yeah, to bottom Duda, thank you so much.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah,
play the bottom Duda.
Spurs Squad saying, well done, the Irish and Jack. Great comments and commitment for your informative show. Spurs Squad, big up, my man. Really do appreciate it, brother.
Really appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much.
It's a daily grind, my man, but it's always way too fun in order to.
It's
to keep
enjoyable
doing.
when you're winning. It's enjoyable when you're winning. When you're losing, it is a grind because you just want to win.
Yeah, exactly. But Spurs squad do really appreciate it, my man.
Legend.
Really way too kind, my man. Really way too kind. Danny Kiriaki saying Spurs broken down three world-class players. Kane, Son, and Lloris. Class players, Bentancur, Romero, Kulu, maybe. Squad players, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Reggie, Dyer, rest. Not good enough. World-class, Kane, Son, Lloris.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
Would you throw Romero in the world-class category?
I would.
I would actually put Bentancur in there as well.
I would.
I would throw Romero in the world-class category.
Yeah.
I put Bentancur in there as well. And I put Højbjerg into a class player, not just a squad player.
I'd put Reggie into class as well, because to be fair, we've actually missed him.
Yeah, I put Reggie in class and I put Højbjerg in class.
But keep Dyer.
Actually, I actually do want, just for people and to maybe show my humility despite my huge Højbjerg bias, I'll put Højbjerg in squad. Even though I think that's being disrespectful to him. Dyer stays squad. Reggie moves to class. Bentancur stays class. Kulu stays class. Yeah. Rest not good enough. Stevie B not good enough. Lucas at the end of the day probably not good enough.
He's been shown up by Kulu in 2 games. He's been shown up by Kulu.
No. Skip though. I think you forgot about Skip, Danny.
Yeah, how dare you, Danny? How dare you forget about young
I'm just trying to look. Because he included Reggie, who didn't play. So, yeah, I think Skippy. But, yeah, I'm with you, Danny. Big up, though, my man. Big up, though, brother. Really do appreciate it. Absolutely. And it definitely interesting. DG saying, this is just a donation. I couldn't.
Yeah. I know what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
big up, DG. Absolute legend. Absolute legend.
Legend. What a man. Big up, DG.
But we are going to keep cracking on. We are going to keep moving on, everybody, to the next questions here. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Dave, how will the players respond to these outbursts from Conte? Does it matter how they respond to it? Does it matter how they feel about Conte's outbursts? At one stage he was saying, nothing has changed at this club. It's only been the managers that have changed. The players are the only thing that stayed consistent. He kind of at one stage did throw the players under the bus. Does it matter, how they respond to it? Do you think they'll have a negative response to it? How do you see them, taking these sort of words from Conte? Do you even care?
I'll be honest with you. I stopped caring what the squad actually taught a long time ago. I really did. I stopped caring under what the squad taught under Pochettino. I stopped caring what the squad taught under Jose Mourinho. Because at the end of the day, when they're not performing, they're always going to look for a scapegoat. But when you see them scapegoating every other manager we've had since Pochettino, even under Pochettino, some of them coming out, it was just finished. You know what I mean? They're scapegoating every other manager rather than look at themselves. The last people at this club to look at themselves, or the second last, because the last one is upstairs, but the second last group of people to look at themselves in this club is the players. They're constantly looking for excuses. Oh, it's the tactics. Oh, it's the way of playing. We can't play this way. We can't play this formation. Oh, he was too mean. He wouldn't tuck me in at bed at night and read me Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. You know what I mean? It pisses me off. It really pisses me off. You want someone to read you Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and tuck you in bed at night? You have more than enough money. Go and pay for it. You do. A manager is here to manage. It's just like these players actually, in a way, make me despise modern football a little bit because of the way they act and the way they can just throw so many managers under the bus and they're allowed to do it. The problem is they don't want to hear home truths. I mean, when Jose come in and asked them what they won, well, of course, I mean, I would react to it and say, okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to win underneath you. Because I can also see that you have had the tactics previously to win trophies. So I'm going to show you. You know what I mean? But our players don't want to do that. Oh, he asked me what trophies I had. He stigged me out. I'm crying now. Well, I mean, crying isn't going to win you trophies. Reacting is. So go and react. Do the right thing. I could not care what this group of players think. I could not care. I've been saying it all along. It's the players. It's not the manager. You control whatever you want at these players in terms of whatever manager, world playing, ways of playing, this, that, and the other. It does not matter. These players will not respond. They'll throw the toys out of the pram at every given opportunity. And that's why we will never win anything. Until that changes, and you have world-class players in here, you have winners in here, because winners, they don't look for excuses 9 times out of 10. They look at themselves and they change themselves and they just do better. It doesn't matter what manager they have. They want to win regardless. Then if you don't have a good manager, you still speak to the dressing room and galvanize the dressing room. So until the players change, we're not winning anything. So I really don't care what they have to say or whether they're going to cry about it at the end of the day. I do not care, because getting Pochettino sacked, getting Jose Mourinho sacked, and getting Conte sacked, it's not good for their CVs. They ain't getting any big clubs.
Dermot, do you care how the players respond maybe to what Conte said? Does it bother you? Maybe, do you feel like maybe the players might take it the wrong way? Do you care if the players take it the wrong way? Are the players even allowed to take it the wrong way, considering, how many managers they've gotten sacked? How do you feel about this situation with the players? Are you a bit worried that, this could get to them?
Oh, I'm really sad it's getting to them. I'm going to start crying in a minute. Boo-hoo. Grow a pair of balls and actually start playing football for the team you're paid to play for. You go back through the history of all them great teams, players would run through a brick wall for the managers in the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s. You've got to the Premier League started, big money, they don't care. It doesn't matter. We just get the manager sacked, we get somebody else in, as Dave said. Can you imagine Brian Clough in his prime going into that team? He would have them scared witless. You look at Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan, you even look at a prime Alex Ferguson. Can you imagine if Alex Ferguson came into that team now? I mean, he took a load of players at Man United when he first turned the whole club around, made them into one of the most successful clubs in the Premier League history. And if you had that sort of players' attitude, they would just want to win all the time. They wanted to win for the club. They wanted to win for the fans. We don't have that at this club. We just got too many prima donnas that want to get, as Dave says, get tucked in with a hot water bottle and a teddy bear and a dummy. And if it doesn't go well, I'll just go on Instagram and start pointing at my hat. Let's get the manager sacked. If you did that in any other line of work, you get the sack. But we can't do that to some of these Tottenham players because, bless them, might hurt their feelings. Boo bloody ho.
Yeah,
balls and just act like men, not like children. You're paid to do a job. Feckin' do it. If you don't want to do it, piss off.
I just don't even care how they respond to it, Dermot. If they're the last people in the entire club who should take it the wrong way, they're the last people who should let it get to them. I mean, they've already let Nuno beat them down for being too nice. Jose was being too mean. Now Conte's being too realistic. Brian Mason too much of their body. I don't know, Dave. I'm just starting to get what how could we even care? What effect this has on the player, because, to be honest, they don't deserve it to even have an effect on them. I don't even think they're allowed for it to even have an effect on them, if I'm being truly honest here. But really good answer there, Dermot.
I mean, just want to add to that very quickly. You look what's happening around the world around this time. Them players need to look at what's happening around the world and look at what they've got, or look at what some of the people around the world haven't got. And then go to the club and say to the manager, I want him sacked. There's a lot of people suffering, and they're in an industry where they can live life for luxuries. Not everyone can live like that. Maybe they're too far touched from reality. Turn on your TV tonight, some of them players. Look what's happening on the news, and then come back and then come in the next day and think about how lucky you are. Because all we ask you to do is try. That's it. No more, no less. Try. I think a few of them need to take a few home truths. I think that would do them the world of good.
Yeah,
absolutely. Last question of the evening, guys, before we move on to extra time and everything. So everybody as well, do hit in your comments and do keep answering all these questions here because we are going to start getting to the extra time section. But Dave, Conte has a considerably worse record when he doesn't have 5+ days or over 5 days of training before a match. Some of the most recent defeats have come from fewer training days to prepare before the match. Is this a worry for you that Conte needs a lot of days of preparation in order to guarantee 3 points? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? It's almost like the opposite problem, Dave, from before. I felt like when Spurs had a lot of time, they used to kind of mess it up.
Yeah.
And now it feels like with Conte needs every day he can get in order to get results. And in fact, when he has less than 5 days or fewer than 5 days, his chances actually become a lot slimmer. All right,
of course he does, because he's to map out every single little detail to the players. Look, we know half of these players are not tactically astute. Half of them can't think for themselves. You know what I mean? Half of them can't make decisions on the pitch without having them being told what to do. So of course he needs every day. Of course you're going to see more when we have 5 days to prepare than 3. Obviously, it's less physical work and stuff like that. But with Conte, he demands 100% from every single one of his players, day in, day out. And whether you have a couple of days or not, like world class teams can do it every couple of days because they have the most intelligent players, they have the best players on the pitch, and tactically they're astute. With how bad we are, of course, Conte needs every single day. 2-3 days is not enough for him to prepare, because realistically, if you're playing on a Saturday or that you're doing a warm down on a Sunday, you have one training session on a Monday, you do a slight little bit on a Tuesday, and you're playing the match on a Wednesday. It's not enough time. It's not enough time for Conte to be able to prepare these players and give them every little detail, because it's what they need. But when you have the 5 days and he has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he can get everything across he needs to them. For me, I still look at the players with that rather than Conte. Oh, you're on mute, Jack.
Sorry, amateur hour. Sorry, yeah, Dave. I'd much rather look at the players rather than Conte as well, Dave. To be honest, but Dermot, I'm not sure if you caught the question, but the question basically was that Conte needs a lot of days of preparation, in order to win, in order to guarantee 3 points. And in fact, his record, it's not so great when he's had fewer than 5 days to prepare for a game. Does that worry you that he needs more than 5 days?
It does. Can I just apologise? Levy's been at my computer, so he decided to play funny games with me. So I do apologise for dropping out like that. No. Yeah, it does worry me. I mean, if the players cannot get it after 1 or 2 training sessions, then we're in deeper shit than we think we are. I mean, it is very, very worrying. I don't know. That's what I say, Jack. It's just very worrying. They should get it after 2 or 3. After 2 or 3 training sessions, they should get it, and then you can use it the rest of the week on set pieces, on markings, where you should be, and that. If you're spending 4 or 5 days just learning the basics, no wonder we're not ready for set pieces, because we haven't got time to, where to be, what to do, who to mark. It's very bad. It boils down to players don't care. They're just turning up for the paycheck. And that's what it boils down to.
I think, Neverman's, answer here is a really good one. He's saying the longer he has his team together, the less time it will take to prepare. The process gets streamlined. But 5 days, with any team gives him a better chance. So perhaps if he had a whole summer, if he had actually had a preseason, maybe the answer to this question wouldn't really be necessary, because he probably would be having a much better record with fewer than 5 days, before a game. But since he hasn't actually even had a preseason with this team, it's really tough for him to actually be able to get results or be able to get results after, only a few days to prepare, because the squad doesn't even know his style or his system yet. And, he doesn't even know his players really to either.
No, I mean, they had a short preseason on the Nuno. And then that didn't work out. And then they brought Conte in. I mean, he needs a full preseason with some players. And I think if he does get a full preseason, we'll see a different Tottenham next year. I think we'll come out of the blocks flying. But let's fingers crossed and my toes crossed and everything crossed. He's still here.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that's the end of it, everybody. We are going to move on, I think, just to a quick little extra time. But everybody, do get you maybe any other questions in via super chat if you feel like there's something that we haven't covered when it comes to the Antonio Conte interviews. Maybe there's certain words that maybe you feel like we didn't, break down enough. Perhaps there's something we didn't, really leave. We left uncovered. Do throw it in a super chat if you feel, and as well help us in the extra time where we do break down some questions just to take our minds off of things, just to kind of decompress and relax. So hopefully as well all of you in the Harris Army do give your answers on extra time. But we do have DG saying Conte sent a message loud and clear, team has to step up. Dave?
No, 100%. Look, yes, he was taking a sly dig at the board, and we can make it all about the board all we want. But the message was the players. As soon as he says different managers, same players, the message towards the players. You got to step up. You got to do more. It's that simple. And hopefully we see a reaction against Leeds. We'll wait and see.
DG, all I can say is that if Conte is sending a message, not only to players, he's sending it to the board as well. He's just basically sending it to everything Tottenham Hotspur. But DG, all I can say is Conte, I mean, he's making it very loud and clear that he's certainly not happy with, just sitting by and watching this team, put in results like this. So DG, that's all I can say. But pick yourself up, my man. Extra time, quickly, lads. Levy gives you 70 million to spend on a position. What position? I'm with Stinky here. I think despite us getting Bentancur, I still want a world-class center mid. I would love to have like a Milinkovic-Savic or something like that you bring in for 70 mil. But Dave, 70 million to put on a player. Where do you put it?
Centre mid. It was as soon as I seen it straight away. Centre mid is what came to my mind. It's got to be centre midfielder. It's yes, we have Bentancur. Yes, we have Højbjerg, but we need more bodies in there. So it's got to be a centre midfielder for me.
With you as well, Dermot. What are your thoughts?
I would say new bus for the players, but I'll go with I'll go for a right wing back because we haven't got any, so we need one. So that's what I'll spend my money on. I'll buy one for 50 million, and I get a 20 million pound bus. So that's what I spend my 70 million on.
Well, might as well just get, in Dombelli back and then get a 20 million pound, fire truck, to just spit on the side.
Yeah.
But number 2, take back Glenn Hoddle or Gareth Bale. I'd take Glenn Hoddle back. I think, just to answer the center mid question, that guy, perfect center mid to bring back. But that's just me. Dermot, what are your thoughts? Gareth Bale or Glenn Hoddle?
Glenn Hoddle all day long.
Yeah.
Absolutely all day long.
Glenn Hoddle. We had Glenn Hoddle against Burnley. We beat them. It's that simple.
Yeah. Some people have put Bale in there, though, which is interesting. Number 3, if you could take Tanguy, Gio, or Dele back right now, which one? You have to take one back. You can't say none. You have to take one back right now just because Antonio Conte seems a bit upset with all of them going. I guess I'm taking Gio the Weirdo back. I think I'll take Gio the Weirdo back. Dave, who are you taking back?
I'm only doing this to please you. Now, let me make this clear. Anyone else ask me this question, Jack, I'm not answering it. So you're lucky it's you that asked me it, to be honest with you. I take Tanguy back just so I can come up with more nicknames for him, because that was actually quite fun.
Yeah, probably missing that. That's fair, Dave. Missing that withdrawal. Dermot.
I take Dele back because I missed the crayons, him colouring his hair.
I do miss the crayon jokes.
I'd just take Dele back just for that.
Yeah, well, there we are. It seems we've all given different answers on that one.
Jack. That is a very hard. That's an evil question. That's an evil one.
As soon as I seen it, I wanted to just go on that just for flat out not answering it.
Can I just say number 4? Number 4 is even more worse. I mean, I don't know how you come up with these, Jack.
I used to do it to Chris because I remember when Chris would go on the fan show.
Yeah.
When Chris would go on the fan show, I would send all these questions and super chats into Chris, and I would make Chris answer them. They would be so funny. I would watch him squirm. But keep one for the rest of their career: Sanchez or Winks. I'd probably say Sanchez. Dave?
Why are you doing this?
He's actually pained.
It's actually hurting. I can't answer this one. I hate them both equally. I'm sorry. I can't. I have to stand my ground. I can't do it to myself, Jack. Look at you. I have to look. Yeah, I'd go with Sanchez.
Oh, he's in physical pain. He might have to take a week off after this one, everybody. Dermot.
I have to go for David's favourite player. I do. I have to go. I have to go for Winky.
Winky.
Just because he's Dave's favourite player and Dave dreams about him, he has him on his wall and everything. So I have to go for Winky for Dave. That is evil. Them last two questions. That could you keep them for somebody you don't like? I mean, they're impossible.
Do you know what? If you want to torture Spurs, if you want to torture any fellow Spurs fan, just come to Jack and get him to put up a simple question. You know, because honestly, the first one I let him away with, number 3, where it was like, what one would you keep? The fourth one just kind of was like, I felt like I was being in a torture chamber, if I'm honest.
That's the whole point of it, everybody. I think that's why I do enjoy extra time. So hopefully people enjoy it as well. I can tell a lot of people in the comments, Dave, you know, they felt like I was putting a gun to their head as well. William Kelly saying, is it wrong of me wanting us to lose to Leeds? Just see Conte attack everybody. Maybe headbutt Levy as well.
Yeah.
An even deeper outburst, an even bigger outburst. I mean, this was just part 1, William Kelly. Just part 1. He wants part 2.
Yeah, but he probably
Part 2, he's sacked. 100%.
Yeah.
And if we lose, he's sacked anyway, so you won't get to see part 2, Will. You know?
He will do, Dave, with his press conference. He will do with his press conference when he's slagging off Levy and everyone in Italian again. So we'll probably get our part 2 with that. But
yeah. Honestly, with him, I couldn't take another loss. I'll be honest, I cannot take another one. Look, I'm the sort of guy, right? I have a 3-year-old niece who sometimes she asks me to play games with her. I can't let her win. I cannot do it. I'm sorry. I know it sounds bad, but I can't let her win knowing that she didn't earn it. It kills me just giving up a win knowing someone didn't have to earn it. And I'm just that sort of guy. And I cannot accept another loss, William. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
He is like this on FIFA, by the way. I watched him on FIFA with Jack. He does not like to lose.
I hate it. I have no problem holding my hands up. I am the biggest sore loser, no problem. But I don't think anyone should enjoy losing either.
No.
Big up, William. DG saying we need better ball boys to waste time. It happens.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, we do actually, and you know, maybe I'd like to see another ball boy be given, you know, a day, you know, with the squad like a Jose did. You know, that'd be nice to see. That was a beautiful day. But DG, I'm totally with you. We do need better shithousery, you know, taught in the ball boy section, my man. Better shithousery taught over there. But big up, DG.
Yeah, but we're too nice, Jack. We're too nice.
Probably.
We need that ball boy that we had under Jose Mourinho for Champions League final and got the assist. We need
That's
him.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, put him in the team. He has more effect in the team than what Harry Winks does. But look, Jack, you know, an incredible show today put together, my man. Really do appreciate you. Great questions, great quotes, and the fact you got the quotes with the questions, absolutely love that. But look, before we do go, let's find out where we can find people. Jack, where can people find you, my man?
Find me over at Flat Cap Bureau Talk, everybody. Dave and I just released a video where we did just do a bit of a highlight reaction on Jed Spence. So if that sounds interesting to you, especially people that have been really frustrated with Emerson so far, do take a look over at Jed Spence. I was actually quite convinced. I really had a lot of fun with, you know, taking a look over at that guy. I thought he actually offered a lot. So do head on over to Flat Cap Bureau Talk, everybody, the second channel, just to see maybe what he and I, Dave, had to say on Jed Spence. Really interesting video, good highlight reactions, as well as somebody who I think could be a good right wing back option for us, especially homegrown. A lot of good things to be spoken about when it comes to him. So do head on over to the second channel. Plenty of other content coming out and over there, hovering around 1,000. Really honored just to be around there at this stage. Really thankful for everybody for you know, showing me all the support over there. So please, if you haven't already, do head on over to Flat Cap Bureau Talk, please. We were around 1,000, now 3 away from 1,000. Just thankful to be over there. Really appreciate it, everybody.
And guys, here is the link for Jack's channel. So anyone that wants to get over there and smash the subscribe button, please do. You know, he puts in so much time and effort over here on this channel, so it'd be nice if you could get over there and just smash that subscribe button. It's free. It's something simple, and it takes 1 second. That'd be awesome. And just quickly, Ronnie, what I would say is take that picture out of the cat, my man Neo being here crying. So, you know, you better remove that picture, lad, before you get accused of something by him. But look, Dermot, I mean, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me on my lovely channel, Tottenham Tantrum Gold, where tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we're doing the BURNLEY special with a very special guest. I'm not telling anyone who's coming on, but he's a very special
you want
guest.
People to get over there, tell them.
I can't, just in case he doesn't turn up. We've only got him for 20 minutes. All right, I will. We have Steve Perriman coming back on the channel again for 20 minutes to talk about the great Bill Nick. And then after he's done his 20 minutes, then me and Ben, we're going to go into his stats. We're going to look at his career and his statistics, his time at the club as a player and a manager. And you can find me 11:30 in the morning out with Ben when we do the morning show from his coffee shop, where we just build up for the Leeds game. So we're only, I think, 19 away. 19 away from 400. We're trying to get up there before the end of February. Let's try and do it. But please, everyone, like and subscribe this channel. These two lads are the nicest lads on YouTube. Like Jack's channel as well. It's a brilliant channel, and I love watching it. And also, like this channel, Dave does a fantastic work for all of us on YouTube. For the Harris Army and the Fat Cup Army. Let's get these guys more subscribers. And if you fancy doing one for me, just like one for me as well. But do these lads first, because they're absolutely gentlemen of YouTube.
No, absolutely brilliant. Look, the two channels, Flat Cap Your Talk, Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Make sure you do get over there and smash that subscribe button, guys. The links are here in the chat. I want to say a massive thank you to Dermot, to Philip and Jack for their time this evening. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's viewing in. These shows do not happen without you. You are absolutely central to every fan channel out there. So a massive thank you to you. A massive thank you to everybody who's helped support the channel financially with Super Chats. And I have no idea how much it really does help keep us going. So a massive, massive thank you to all of you guys out there as well. Everybody, make sure you do smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button as well. Get your comments in underneath on your thoughts on Conte's quotes. Do let us know. As always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
In Conte we trust. Come on, you Spurs.